Chapter 1. The first rainy night. The sky was blue out. Raichuru had just opened her golden eyes to the morning, like she has for the past 17 years of her life. She groggily rubbed her hands on her eyelids and rolled over. She was staring Denmark in the face. Or as she calls him, Denny. Denny-kun. She spoke softly, like floating butterflies on the breeze. Good morning. I've missed you in my sleep. I've missed you too. He took his hand and ran it down to the tip of her soft, furry ear. Her ear twitched with delight. I get worried about you sometimes, though. Really? Her golden eyes lit up like a light in a lamp on a dark night. Yes, of course. You work for the Yakuza. How else am I supposed to feel? Her eyes gazed downward, like as if trying to see something on the floor. It's good to know there's actually someone who cares about my existence. I love you with all my heart, Rai-kun. Yeah. You do. I know you do. I love you, Denny-kun. Raichuru purred. They kissed passionately, like a woman and man that haven't seen each other for 40 years, but have loved each other all that time. She wanted to drink his blood. Really, really bad. But she couldn't. For if she were to suck the life juices out of him, it would turn him into a demon vampire. Of course, she would never let anything bad happen to him. He was the love of her life, and her only love. Raichuru dressed in her outfit she wore to the Yakuza, and got ready for work. She wore a white schoolgirl's outfit that had long sleeves, a red ribbon around her neck, red trimming that went on her sleeves, a red skirt, her brown hair tied up in a red ribbon, red as blood, and a big gun. Her long brown hair with blue highlights in the middle swayed in the breeze so beautifully. She could almost kill someone with her lips were really red, but she didn't need expected she would have a tough assignment today. Raichuru was out prowling in the woods when she heard a certain cackling. It was a witch. "Oh," the witch said in a nasty voice, like you're eating something slimy. "I see there's a girl out to get me, and she thinks she's prettier than me, eh?" "Well," Raichuru smiled, "you are old and ugly, and I'm assigned to kill you. This will be the last time you fight me." Raichuru ran toward the hag, her breasts delicately bouncing in the wind. The witch took out a staff and tried to smite her, but fell short when Raichuru suddenly disappeared and reappeared behind her. "I told you not to mess with me," she said, slitting the witch's throat open. She put her lips to the wrinkly neck and sucked on it. Really, really hard. The blood came pouring into her mouth like a waterfall of gore and violence. She was going home after having killed the witch when she heard an unusual noise coming from the bushes. He said, "I've come back for you." Raichuru was astonished. "Father," she yelped, "you're supposed to be dead. Why did you come back? Why did you have to come back?" Tears of pain and darkness rolled down her eyes as her worst nightmare stepped towards her. "I'm undefeatable, bitch. You had your chance years and years ago, but you failed. Now I'm back to get you. You don't want to fight me, father." She drew out her long, bloody sword and looked at him in a cruel way. "I haven't come to kill you right now, but someday. Beware." With that, he threw a smoke bomb at her and disappeared. Chapter 2. Tears of Rain. Raichuru got home. It took a while for the impact of her father coming back to soak in. She was hot, red with anger and sadness. She decided to train in the garden with her teacher, Inuyasha. He wasn't full cat demon like Raichuru. He was also part dog demon. They both had fangs and sharp animal-like eyes, and in those eyes was a hint of love for Rai. "Rai-chan," he said, "I've been waiting a long time for you. How did the battle go?" "My dead father! He is back!" Her face collapsed in her hands, and she nearly cried. "How can he be back? He's dead! No! He's back! I don't know what to do. Maybe I can get our master of the Yakuza to kill him." She had a tear roll down the side of her sad cheeks. Her and Inuyasha both worked for the Yakuza, and she thought he might be able to frame her dad. "I don't know if that'd be allowed." His ears twitched. "Then I will have to kill him myself." Her eyes turned red with madness, like blood on fire. Inuyasha didn't want her to get hurt. He was worried. He couldn't tell her, though, because he didn't want her to know his feelings for him. "Please," he said, "don't go. He'll kill you." She looked at him bravely. "I'll be fine." That night she went home. Denmark was sitting on the couch next to the fire. He was reading a book very intensely. "I see you're home, Rai-kun." "Yeah, I'm home, Denny-kun," she sighed. "I saw you talking to Inuyasha." I think you should get a different tutor, like Kagome or Germany. They're both so good with wars and fighting. Why? Are you jealous? You don't have to be, I swear. I'd never cheat on you. I love you. Their eyes told each other that something was wrong, but they both ignored it. They decided to just go to bed instead of saying anything. They cuddled together and did some other stuff. Then they fell asleep, and as they slept, her dad was watching.
Inuyasha is owned and created by Rumiki Takahashi.
Chapter 3. The Rain Falls. She woke up all alone in a room she'd never seen before. It was pitch black, and maniacal laughter could be heard from a distance. She could taste blood in her mouth, and she liked it. Her cat demon must have come out and attacked someone. She was scared and alone. "Deniken!" she called out. "Where are you? Are you here?" She walked out of the room and down a long, narrow hallway. A feeling of guilt and cowardness overcame her. What had just happened? Did she really eat somebody? These were things she didn't want to think about. Her main focus was on finding a way out. "I have captured you, Rai. There is no escape." "Who are you?" She was angry. "Are you my father?" "No," said the voice mysteriously. "I am Sesshomaru, Inuyasha's brother, the Vampire Lord." Raichuru gasped in terror. Sesshomaru had died. She could have sworn that he died. It was a long, long time ago. Inuyasha had gotten in a fight with Sesshomaru over the death of their mother, and Inuyasha had stabbed him in the heart. That moment, he died and tumbled off the cliff into the abyss of the ocean. The only way he could come back is if he was a vampire who had been bitten by someone. But who? "Raichuru," he said, "I don't know why you protected my brother." His fiery eyes flashed. "But you can't stand between me and him anymore. I must kill him. I have to kill him, for the sake of our mother." "He loved your mother. He couldn't help what happened. He was only a baby. Why are you holding on to a grudge that you don't need to?" "She always loved him. Father didn't care about me. He just didn't care. That doesn't matter. Anyway, it's time for you to be rid of." Then, out of nowhere, Inuyasha and Kagome flew out of the shadows and picked Raichuru up. "Hey!" she shouted. "I can take care of myself. I don't need you to help me." "Yes, you do." Inuyasha looked at her. "I'm here to protect you." Her cheeks turned red, and as she looked away, she saw Kagome try to slash Sesshomaru in half. "Damn!" Kagome screamed. "He's too hard to defeat. What should I do?" Her skirt flew in the air. Inuyasha joined the battle, and all three of them went at it like rabid dogs. Blood sprayed the room crimson. Raichuru licked the wall like a hungry devil, slapping up the mixture of their blood. Sesshomaru threw his arm out and slammed Kagome against the wall, knocking her out. He flew away with her into the night, and they weren't seen after that. "Oh my God, Kagome!" Inuyasha cried into the night. He howled in sorrow and remorse. "It's okay, Inusama," Raichuru comforted him. "I'm sure she'll be fine." "No, Rai, you don't understand. He is a lord of vampires. She's one of them now." He gently put his hand up to his teary eyes. Their golden eyes met. "One of them? Like a vampire?" "Yes, Rai." Raichuru and Inuyasha went back to the village. Denmark was standing by himself at the market, eating a Danish. Raichuru departed from Inuyasha, wishing him luck, and then going to Denmark. "Things aren't looking good, Deniken." She sighed and fell into his arms. "I missed you so much, baby. I'm glad to see you back in one piece. When I woke up and found you gone, I was scared. I thought that your dad had gotten to you." No. Her eyes sparkled as she looked up at him. "We have bigger problems on our hands now. Sesshomaru, the vampire lord, is black. He wants to kill me for protecting Inuyasha. I don't want to protecting him." His golden hair blew in the wind. "I love you, Raiken, but you spend too much time with your tutor. Please, I beg of you, forget about Inuyasha and Sesshomaru. Find someone new to teach you how to fight. In fact, I know the perfect tutor." Chapter 4. The Avatar of the Yakuza. Hoo-ah! Her black hair wiped around like a black whip. There was a fierce look of concentration on her face as fire and air came out of her hands. Denmark took Raichuru over to her. "Raikun," he said, "meet Kora, your new tutor in learning the dark arts of air and fire bending. Konnichiwa. Watashi no namae ha Raichuru Ketsueki Sore wa anata ni aite ureshi desu. Rai bowed formally, her brown hair falling over like a silky waterfall. No, Raikun, she can speak English. Oh, gomen nasa. I'm sorry. Rai bowed again. How are you, Korra? I'm fantastic! She whizzed up in the air and shot flames out of her hands. I am ready to make you the most lethal assassin. Besides me, of course. Rai thought to herself, I'm already lethal. Korra touched D-Mark on the cheek. You know, maybe you should join too. We need some section men around here. No, I think he's fine at home. Raichuru snaped. Anyway, Korra blinked her beautiful eyes. I need to start training you. We could be best friends! Hell no! Raichuru thought. Catch, Raichuru! Korra threw fire at her. Raichuru held out her hand and caught it, instantly freezing it with ice. My, you are strong. Can you bend fire too? Of course I can! Raichuru lit a candle in her hands. You see, my father was a demon. My mother was part cat. I have the demon blood in me. I can start fires. That's so amazing! You could be the next Avatar. She cupped Rai's hands. I can feel it within you. The power! Raichuru looked puzzled and confused, like a lost boy in the woods. No, but never mind that. It's tea time. Korra pranced off to fetch a tray of tea. What did she mean? Raichuru thought. In the tea room, Korra spoke about herself. You know, she said, drinking some mint bubble tea. I have a secret too. Oh, and what's that? Raichuru looked at her curiously like a cat. Her ears twinked. I'm part angel. Really, I am. No one believes me, though. Korra sucked down a ball. You are? But you don't even have wings. Oh, but I do. I just keep them hidden so no one hunts me down and tries to rip them off. I can fly, and I have the power to control light. I can't bloodbend, though. Only demons can do that. I'm sure I can bloodbend, then. Raichuru sucked on her bubble tea. There were sakura petals falling on them in the pink courtyard. It was a wonderful summer day. The breeze was just right, and the air spoke of love. I hear your half-sister is an angel, too. Yuki, right? Uh-huh. I love Yuki. She is an angel. Loving and great with people. You can't find anyone better than her. Raichuru sipped a little more. I hear you're trying to kill your dad. Korra's voice softened into silk. Yes, he is the most terrible man. I always feel like he watching me, even on the toilet. They both heartedly laughed. You know, at first I didn't think we were going to be friends. After training, they went home. Man, that Korra is loopy, Raichuru thought. The sweat of the workout had soaked her clothes through. Conforming to her body, her silhouette looked like that of a neck kid woman. I hear you've gotten a new tutor. Inuyasha stepped out of the shadows. He was caught off guard by her beauty. Oh my, you look lovely. They both blushed. Then she said, Domo arigato kwasamashita inusama. I couldn't get them to kill your father. I didn't have the money. He marveled at her in passion. It's okay, I want to do it myself. He needs to die. Inuyasha turned away. Why did Denmark do this to us? I wasn't doing anything wrong. I wished we could train together again. I miss you, Raikun. Did you just say Raikun? Her ears perked up. Yes, I did, he said boldly. I have feelings for you. Feelings I've wanted to express since the day we met all those years ago. You have captivated me in such a way no one has. Your beauty, your intelligence, your passion, it's just amazing to me. We have so much in common. And, oh, I've said too much, haven't I? Perhaps. Inside, she was smiling. Anyway, any luck with retrieving your woman? You mean Kagome? No, not yet. Thank you for reminding me. I better go plan that out. Inuyasha leapt it into the air and disappeared into the sky. Goodbye, Raichuru whispered. She put her hands on her stomach. The power within me, she whispered. The creators of Legend of Korra, Michael Dante DiMartino, Brian Konietzko.
Chapter 5, Hentai Warning.
This gets pretty graphic, so have fun! 3, on! Inuyasha took out his big gargantuan dick and touched it. Like all wolves and creatures of the night, he needs loving. The moon was full and he could feel his blood boil all over his void. It was mating season, and he needed to find a female. The first girl that came to his mind was Raichuru. He longed to touch her voluptuous body and kiss her on the neck. He thought about it all night until he finally went to her house. "Hey, Raichuru," he whispered to a window. "I'm coming in." "What?" she said. "Why?" "You're the only woman I can ever love, and I need you right now. It's time for me to mate. Ow! He howled. Then he came in. "I can't do this. What about Denmark? We love each other very much." She looked into his sparkling blue, sapphire ocean eyes. The lust covered her whole body. "But I love you more." He nuzzled her neck with his nose and put his thing against her legs. "Let me do it." She leaned back on the bed and let him into her. They were in love, and they started humping. They scratched and moaned, sending horrible cat and dog noises to their neighbors. Finally, after a good 3 hours, they were done. "That was amazing, Inuyasha," she breathed. "Yes, it was." He smiled at her. Suddenly, Denmarker burst into the room. "Raichuru!" he screamed. "I loved you. Why did you do this to me?" "It's all my dad's fault," she cried. "I wouldn't have had sex with Inuyasha if he hadn't been so consoling when my dad came back." Then she woke up. It had all been a dream. Or had it? Distressed Raichuru went downstairs, almost crying. The memories of her father were terrible. After her mother died, she had to live with her father. He was very mean to her. Ever since the day she thought he died, a little bit of life was brought back into her soul. Now that he was black, she didn't know what to do. It was like the darkest, evilest, worst cloud had come to rain down upon her and shatter her heart with torture. "I've been waiting for you." Denmark came out of nowhere. He was sitting on the couch with his legs propped up on the coffee table. "Did you miss me?" He wrapped his arms around her and gave her a kiss. "Oh, hi, Danny-kun." Raichuru looked away. "Is there something wrong?" "No, I'm fine, really." "I can tell you're hiding something from me behind that beautiful smile of yours." It was like a heavenly light shone on her ass. He kissed her forehead and said, "I love you. Now tell me what's wrong." "My dad even terrorizes me in my sex dreams." She never called him dad before, because when she last saw him, she as young enough to call him daddy. "That bastard!" Denmark exclaimed. "If he ever messes with you again, I will kill him." "There's nothing you can do! Den-kun, there's nothing you can do!" With that, Raichuru ran up into her own room, with Denmark coming after her. She closed the door before he could get in. On the nightstand, there was a bottle of pills. They were the type of pills that made you feel good after taking them. I said I wouldn't do this anymore. I quit! But the pills were there, tempting her, all shiny and blue. She reached out and took one. "No! Stop it!" She threw the first pill on the floor. She took a second one and done the same. But the third one was evil. A pill made to make the addict want to take it. A member from the clan going against the Yakuza had snuck it into a bottle. She couldn't help herself and she took it. "No! Why? Why?" She started downing more pills. They were like terrible candy. She was supposed to feel better with every pill, but she didn't. She just wanted more. It was almost orgasmic. Soon she found a knife. What to do with it? She thought about it and decided to play with it. "I love knives." She was tripping really hard. It seemed to her that the knife wanted to be dug into her flesh. She longed to see and drink the blood. Slowly she stabbed her shoulder and then moved down to her arm. The blood flowed like a waterfall of pain and bliss. Her tongue touched the red waterfall, and she drank it. It tasted as refreshing as a lemonade Capri-Sun. It seemed flowing and endless. Her body grew pale, and her eyes turned red with excitement. She was going insane. She could imagine all her problems disappearing into her mouth, being washed away with her blood. Her father wouldn't hurt her anymore. No one ever would. Her eyes rolled to the back of her head, and her blood dripped all over her face. "Are you okay? Raikun, open this door! I love you, don't hurt yourself! Not anymore!" I was too late. Gallons of blood was lost from her body, and she passed out on the floor, everything stained red. It was hours before Denmark broke open the door and found the bleeding Raichuru. She was badly hurt. Inuyasha is owned and created by Rumiki Takahashi.
Chapter 6. The Power Within. Raichuru woke up in the hospital bed after having cut herself a lot. There was bandages on her arms and legs. Her brown and turquoise hair was sweaty and messy. She was wearing her sleep clothes, a red and black top with black pants that had antique writings on them that meant something in demonic tongue. The sheets were soaked with blood and pain. She couldn't remember what happened the night before. She just remembers hating her father. Where's Deniken? Yeah, I need my Deniken. She rolled over in the hospital gurney, scared and alone. Denmark must have fallen asleep somewhere in the lobby. Damn it! She hissed. Now I'm all alone and in pain. Fear not, dear. Yuki came floating down from the ceiling on angle wings. I am here for you.
Oh, half-sister Yuki, I've missed you so much. How have you been?
Raichuru asked.
I've been all right, dear, but I am more worried about you.
Do you remember what happened?
Yuki smoothed out Rai's hair.
I remember nothing but being scared and thinking about my father. And Inuyasha. I had a wonderful dream that we were having sex in my mouse. On my bed. Raichuru remembered everything that night, but she didn't remember everything she had thought she remembered it. I cut myself because I was thinking about my father. No, said Yuki, you cut yourself because you had sex with Inuyasha. It wasn't a dream. Denmark came in and started yelling at you, then you took those pills and they made you forget everything that really happened. Oh God, no! Poor Deniken, he must be scared. Whatever will I do, Yuki? They held hands and Raichuru cried into Yuki's arm. At that moment, Inuyasha came into the hospital room to check on Raichuru. He was holding flowers. I hope you're okay, Raikun, after last night. Are you okay? He wanted to hold her so bad, but he didn't 'cause he thought it wouldn't be right. I'm fine. I'm sorry I got us in trouble. I should have said no, but you needed me. Raichuru, I don't know what I would do without you. You're the only woman I can love. No, she is mine! Denmark busted into the room with bigger, better flowers. You rat devil! I hope Sesshomaru kills you and sucks your blood dry. Just because I actually care about her? Inuyasha crossed his arms in displeasure. Their eyes met and it was like suffocating ice. Everyone in the room could feel the tension between the two. No, because I love her. She loved me first and she shall love me last. He threw the flowers at Raichuru. You need to pick between me and Inuyasha. Who do you love? They both stormed out of the room like thunder and lightning brothers that were fighting. They don't get it. I love both of them, but my heart can only contain one man in my life. She looked at Yuki, teary-eyed. Don't worry, Rai-chan. Everything will be all right. You are the most brightest and strongest person I know. No one can bring you down, Rai. I think I need to take a drink, Yuki. Give me some sake, please. I can't do that, Rai. Yuki took the sake away from her. Why not? My life is very stressful. She pouted and crossed her arms. Han, there's something that you need to know. Yuki put her hand on Rai's stomach. You are carrying Inuyasha's child. I'm the mother of his child. Chapter 7. The Rain Calls. It was the day of the baby shower, and everything was perfect. Yuki, Inuyasha, Kikyo, Joken, and Korra surrounded Raichuru with presents. Thank you for calming everyone. I'm so happy you're here. Especially you, Inuyasha. Raichuru smiled. Yes, I had ought fight my emotions, but I felt like I needed to come. Even though you've only been a little bit pregnant for a few days. Ding dong! The doorbell rang and Inuyasha answered it. It was Rin and Shippo. They were 18 and in love with each other. Rin wore a red rose dress and Shippo wore her cute yellow dress. Ever since Sesshomaru turned evil, Rin decided she'd rather be in love with a girl than him, so she started dating Shippo. Oh look, it's Rin and Shippo! Inuyasha hugged them. How's my favorite niece? Great, Uncle Inusama! Shippo jumped into his arms and he twirled her around. Hello, Rai! You look so lovely, even though you're pregnant. I feel a bit like a mess, and Denmark didn't come because he's still angry. Raichuru sighed. I can still feel the power within you. Korra rubbed Rai's belly. This baby is growing stronger every day, and I want to be its godmother. Of course you can be its godmother. Next to Yuki, of course. It suits you guys, because you're both angles.
In the meanwhile, Sesshomaru laughed wickedly.
Those stupid people, he said. They don't know what's going to hit them. I have them wrapped around my little fingers, and they'll with they weren't. He had Kagome strapped to a pole with her mouth tied up and wearing nothing but bandage wraps. Ugh. She was bleeding furiously and non-stop. He had sunken his teat into her and drank out part of her life. She wondered when she'd ever get any help. Inuyasha had been so busy with Raichuru, she thought that he didn't care about her anymore. You stupid bitch, Sesshomaru Snake is. You can't get away, and no one gives a crap about you. No one will save you. You just wait, she cried. Inuyasha will come and save me. Inuyasha! Back at the party, Raichuru was opening gifts for her baby. She was opening the gift from Shippo and Rin. Oh, thank you, she said. It's a heart-shaped necklace with a picture holder in it. Yes, and you get one too. You can put pictures of your baby in there once it's born. It's so sad, Raichuru thought. My mother never gave me a necklace like this when I was a baby. I think I know what to name the baby, Raichuru said. I'll name it Tenshikuzu, which means angel dust in Japanese. It's inspired by her two godmothers. Oh, thank you. Korra clapped her hands together and hugged Raichuru. Oh, yes, thank you, Yuki smiled. Her beautiful smile like fresh new snow. Suddenly, Sesshomaru burst through the window and kidnapped Yuki. No, screamed Raichuru. You will never hurt me again. You will have to fight me. She picked up a knife and threw it at Sesshomaru, barely scraping his cheek. Kill all of them! Suddenly the room went black and everyone screamed in terror. Black mist surrounded them all and the terrible creature started slaughtering people. When the mist went away, the only person that was dead was Joken. His eyes were closed and blood was oozing from fang marks on his neck. One of Sesshomaru's minons must have done this. Rin picked up Joken's lifeless body and cradled it. Korra, why didn't you protect us? Raichuru shook her like a raggedy doll. I don't know what happened, Korra cried. Everything was all out of my control. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you and your half-sister. You're an angel, Korra. You're supposed to protect people. You just haven't found your strength yet. Unless you were wrong. No! Korra stood up. I am an angle. I'm not crazy. That's right, everyone. Now you know my secret. I am part angle. Everyone except Raichuru gasped. I can control light, and I can cure people of disease, but I can't bloodbend. Raichuru has that gift, though. Raichuru cupped a hand over her mouth. You're right, I can, can't I? She boldly stood up and went to Joken's body. She concentrated her energy on the blood on the floor and bended back into his body, bringing him back to life. I didn't know I could do this, she said. It's your gift, Korra explained. You can bring the dead back to life. No one else can do that. It's very rare and prized. I know what I must do, Raichuru stood up. I can bring Kagome back to being normal. I am part vampire with bloodbending powers. I can reverse the curse. Inuyasha looked up at her. I must go too, for you and the baby. All right, then. She smiled at him with her golden cat eyes. I knew I could count on you. Chapter 8. The Trouble with Angles. Inuyasha and Raichuru were taking the train to the place where Sesshomaru was hiding. Shippo and Rin were cuddling on the back sheet like hormonal teenagers. The tracks on the train screeched on the metal train tracks. It was a dark, powerful day. The clouds loomed with a hint of everlasting doom and hate. There was a sharp pain in Raichuru's luscious chest. Something doesn't feel right, she said. I can feel darkness inside the soul of one of us. Don't be silly, Raikun. Nobody here is going to hurt us. We're all okay, so don't worry. I love you. That's all you need. Inuyasha put his muscular, sexy arm around Raichuru. Thank you for being here, Inuyasha-kun. The baby needs his daddy around, and you're his daddy. Don't leave us, okay? Yeah. She grabbed him on his waist. She felt so close to the earth. The train stopped and the people started screaming in terror. Blood sprayed onto the seats and Rin. What the hell? She screamed. Who the hell is doing this? Gunshots was heard at the end of the train, and slowly moving up to where the group was. Gah ha 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 ha! Alucard blew it right through, but she slapped it out of her way. You're not the only demon here, Alucard. Raichu stood up and glared him down. Your beauty will not stop me from killing you. I have personal orders from Sesshomaru to do away with your ass. He held up a double-barrel gun at her face. Oh, fuck you, she screamed. I'll kill you in an instant. Nyah! On! Don't do it! You're pregnant! Inuyasha held her tight, as if he were to never let go of her again. You can't die. Let me do it. He got on his knees and howled into the air. My sister is going to come, and she will gonna kick your ass, he howled again until the blood streamed from his eyes. The skies grew gray and the stars sparkled. She came riding on a white wolf and hopped into the train with her short brown hair. It was Princess Monokoki. Her English name is Mary Laceheart. Brother, you called? She ran over to Inuyasha. Yes, Mary, you must kill this man. Alucard! He's trying to kill us all, especially Raichu, who's pregnant with my baby. I'll never let that happen. She took out a spear and her wolf snarled. Human, you will die. No, don't kill him. Raichu put herself between the two. I don't want him to die. Why not? Mary snaped. Because he's my cousin. We're both vampire demons. We have the same mother. Trying to be nice to your older cousin. A little bit of family niceness. How stupid. I'm going to blow your sorry asshole. Alucard cursed and hissed? No, we don't have to do this, Alu-chan. Just because you work for Sesshomaru doesn't mean you have to kill me. You used to love me. You used to love Yuki, too. Where is she? I don't care for our family relations anymore, and Yuki is all fucked up and asleep. I did her a lot, and now she's in too much pain to fight. He smiled. Not so fast! Yuki suddenly came bursting through the window and jump-kicked him with Mary. You asshole! You don't have sex very well anyway, but thanks for the ride. She used her angle wings to slap him off the cliff the train was riding next to. It was very badass. Mary Laceheart giggled with delight. Yuki flipped her white hair and smiled. Oh, I love to see them scream, Mary smiled. On the floor, Raichu was feasting on the dead bodies. She was sucking the blood out of them enough for two. Being pregnant makes her very hungry all the time. The baby needs to feed, Rai said. Damn my cousin, he should have never tried to mess with me. Raichu, we've got a problem. Yuki sounded scarred. It's Korra. She's not who we think she is. Oh no, that's definitely Korra. She can bend fire, water, earth, air, and light. No, that's not what I mean. Korra is working with Sesshomaru. She's under his control. She tortured me. Raichu got mad. No, she wouldn't do that. She's the one that kidnapped me, Raikun. She's the one that killed Joken. We need to get rid of her. She looked beautiful as she cried tears of sorrow. Korra! Raichu screamed.
名前は
香取雄太郎です。
香取雄太郎と。いい若いもんがこんなところで何をしとるんだ。
はい。いい若いもんは勉強しとります。
勉強だと？
これは鳩ですか？
鳩？
Chapter 10 School of the Gemen's Reign. It was bright out and there were clouds in the sky at Akuma no Uta High School. The day almost seemed perfect to anyone inexperienced. But Raichu knew better. It was really awkward back at school with Denmark. Raichu, Inuyasha, and the others had failed to find Sesshomaru's secret cave, so she had to go back to school as normal. Today there was a singing contest, and everyone was nervous. A lot of people would join, and a lot of people would lose. Raichu, Yuki, and Minna were shitting at the lunch table, eating their lunches. Hey, Rai-chan, Minna exclaimed. I hear you're going out with Denmark, but you cheated on him with Inuyasha. Yeah, I kind of want to avoid them both at school today, Rai said, stirring her mashed potatoes. Inuyasha can visit his baby after I've had it. Yuki put her hand on Rai's shoulder. It'll be okay, Rai-kun. Denmark will come to his senses and realize he loves you even though you may bear the child of Inuyasha. Yeah, I hope he learns to understand me. I want things to go back to the way they were before Inuyasha ruined it. Rai felt a darkness loom in her heart. She knew that she couldn't keep on this happy face. Hey, Rai-chan, you should go for the singing contest. You have a beautiful voice, you know? I can see you winning. Minna held her finger up and said happily. I couldn't do that. Rai turned away as she began to silently cry tears of sadness over her whole situation. Don't be modest. You have the voice of an angel. Minna cheered. Yeah, that's right. You have a better voice than me, and I'm an angel. Yuki smiled. Rai rested her hand on her belly. She could feel the baby move. Some girl was walking by when she tripped and her tray and food landed all over Raichu. Through the spaghetti and mashed potatoes, Rai could see who it was. It was Lucy. Hey! Raichu screamed. Whoosh! Where you're going, you red-haired bimbo? To be honest, I'm not very sorry. Lucy graciously picked up her tray. You don't want to mess with me, Rai. I'm a bloodbender too, and a better one than you. And I can use my horns to ram you like a bull if I want. Yeah, but you lost your powers, Raichu smirked. You can't use your fancy invisible hands anymore. Not after what I did to you. Lucy threw her tray down. I don't want to talk about that, so shut up! Lucy ran away crying, her red hair flowing in the wind like silky blood. Whoa, Rai, what did you do to her? Minna looked surprised. She bit her and turned her into a vampire. After seducing her, of course. Yuki continued. Now that she's undead, she can't use her four-armed souls to kill people. Life really sucks for her now. No way! Rai, is this true? Minna gasped. Yeah. Raichu pulled the spaghetti off her pregnant belly. She had it calming to her. Everyone wants her dead anyway. Oh, the bell rang and it was time to go to class. The teacher was waiting at the chalkboard as the students flooded in like a pool of blood. They all sat down and waited. Good morning, class, the teacher said. I see we have a full room today. No one is sick. He chuckled and smiled. He couldn't happen to help but to notice Rai, Yuki, and Minna in their tight school uniforms. He was mainly focused on Raichuru's nice curvy body. Her cute little cat ears perked up when he spoke to her. All right, Rai, tell me what 45 bracket x minus 90 bracket divided by 3 is. In your head. Raichu thought for a mere 5 seconds. Negative 1,335x. Sa! He smiled. Well, talent and looks. I'm glad to have someone like you in my class, Rai-chan. She blushed. Oh, thank you, Sensei. Have you, though, of joining the singing contest? I couldn't help but hear your singing in the girls' bathroom on the way to the classroom. And it sounded beautiful. Oh, no, I don't think I'll be doing that. Rai tried to hide her face in her collar. You don't have a choice, Rai, Minna smiled. Why? She took out a pencil and cutely nibbled on it. I signed you up. Listen, if you guys are too immature to handle the sexy parts of my story, then you should just not read it, Kay. You guys commenting on Chapter 9 should stop pointing fingers at me and telling me there's something wrong with me. I write bad and those other things. Kay, thanks. Chapter 11. A beautiful voice lost in the rain. Sensei laughed really hard.
Good going, Minna. You should join the contest too. Do any of you ever sing in the shower?
They all looked at each other and said, yeah, sometimes we do. Even with each other. Raichu laughed jokingly.
Ha 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 ha! That's cute.
He smiled.
All right then, class. Raichu has to go to practice singing while we finish the rest of our math class. Good luck, Rai-kun!
Thank you, Sensei-sama. She left the room excited. I hope I can do this, she thought to herself. I can't believe that Minna-chan signed me up, that crazy hoe. She chuckled to herself because she wasn't being serious. You're not going to win that contest, Raichu. I can bloodbend and I will force you to singing something shitty. It was Lucy again. Oh, back off, you tough-ass bitch. Raichu stared her down like two cowboys in the Old West getting ready to fight each other to the death. You still got spaghetti on your pregnant parts. Lucy pointed to Raichu's belly. You're such a whore. And everyone knows it. You're wrong and blind. You don't see things like other people do because you can't get a grip on your own reality because you're so cruel to everyone. People love me. You're the one they hate. You're the on-e that everyone wants to stay away from. And you know what? You're the whore. I know about all the people you've slept with. Don't think that when I see Germany and Bolin, I don't see you on top of them wallowing like a walrus in heat. It's sick. That hurts. Tears of pain and shame poured from the inside of her body through her eyes. She didn't want to remember her bad past. You stupid bitch. She walked away defeated. She was no match for Raichu and his strong words of passion and truth. You can't beat me. I have a heart stronger than anyone's will to eat. Raichu was sitting at the library reading a book and practicing singing. She could feel the baby inside of her growing stronger and getting bigger. Daddy, she said to herself, why are you so cruel to me? All I ever did was love you and want to be your daughter, and then when my cat demon killed Mom, you didn't love me anymore. I never did anything wrong. Now I live every day bloody and ashamed of my parts that can control themselves, the parts that need to come out and live, my she-wolf, the things that live deep inside of me. Why don't you love me, Daddy? Why don't you love me? It was like the world fell on its head and she was transported back into time. There she was, sitting there with her fatter as a little girl. You stupid asshole. He were shitting her intensely onto the floor. Blood was on her face and she couldn't get up. No, I don't want to remember, she cried. It was the singing contest, and everyone was sitting and waiting for the performers to perform. Students and teachers were sitting in the crows, waiting for the contest to begin. It began. A bunch of students sang songs like Fireworks, Stupid Boy, and maybe even some Little Wayne from the guys at school who liked to rap a lot. None of them were anything too special, though. The next performer is
Raichu Ketsueki,
the announcer said. Raichu shyly got up onto the stage and held the mic. Hey everyone, I wasn't deliberately trying to sing today, but my friend put me into the contest, so here I am. People laughed. I just wanted to say, Her eyes went off into the distance and she saw her father hitting her around like a plastic ball that children play with again. The crowds of people looked worried and scared for her. They didn't know what to do. No, Daddy, no, stop. I didn't mean to kill her. Daddy, Suddenly, a song from her heart came in through her lungs in a melodic tone. She sang Jar of Hearts by Christina Perry. Everyone gazed at her intensely.
She was so beautiful.
And in a trance, her voice of that of an angel singing in the heavens. Tears still came out of her eyes, but she kept singing. It was
so beautiful
and heartbreaking. The song finished, and everybody clapped and gave her a standing ovation. Thank you, she blushed. I think we know who the Ewayanor is! Raichu Ketsue! Splash! Blood oozed out of Raichu because Lucy bloodbended her. So goodbye to your baby, Raichu. I just gave you an aberration with my mind, Lucy smacked. Blood covered Raichu's hands as she tried to wipe it away off of her uniform. You bitch! No! Chapter 12. A gift in disguise. It was truly shocking when Lucy had performed the blood-bending technique on Raichu. She fell to the ground, her hair fluttering in the wind like a dying bird who was shot and falling to the ground. Oh God, she thought, is this the end? Will I now die? Will my baby die? Her head hit the stage ground and everyone could hear the gentle thud. Ha! Lucy screamed and pointed at her. Take that! You thought you could talk shit to me and get away with it? But you shouldn't play with fire if you can't handle it. She smirked. Someone needs to take her home! Inuyasha screamed. I will. Denmark stepped up and held her in his arm. I'm taking her home with me, where she belongs. Even though she's your baby. He glared at Inuyasha. Dick! he sneered. As he walked her home, he could see how beautiful she was. Her hair covering her cute petite face, her turquoise highlights over her eyes, that slight smile upon her rosy red lips, the way her school uniform hugged the curves of her body, and how her head bobbled up and down. It was magical to him. He remembered how much he loved her, and what he has been missing this whole time. It didn't matter anymore that Inuyasha savaged her and plumped her up. It was the same girl he had known and loved this whole time. So he let it all go. "I love you, Raichuru," he spoke softly, like a quiet murmur that wasn't to be heard. Like Mike, she opened her eyes and smiled. "I love you too, Deniken." He cried and held her tiger. "I'm so happy things are back to exactly the way they were. I miss those days." "I did too," she smiled. They were at home and Raichuru was lying in bed. Korra walked in through the door and sat down next to her with a gift box. "Konnichiwa, Raicha." "Stop it! Stop acting like my friend!" Raichu bitch-slapped Korra on the face. "I know that you are with Sesshomaru, trying to destroy us and having tons of fun with him." "Raichuru?" Korra's face turned down as she began to cry. There was a deep pain in her heart where her feelings were hurt. You don't understand. I can't control myself." "What the fuck do you mean you can't control yourself? You killed someone and you've been lying to us this whole time." Raichu slapped down on her food tray that went flying into Korra's face. "Hey, watch out!" She brushed the rice out of her ponytail. "I've got something to tell you. It's really important." "Fine, what is it?" Raichu crossed her arms like a mad little boy with his parents. Her eyes burned with fire and anger. The sun beamed in them. Korra stopped, then bent her head. "I'm part demon too. I'm like you, Raichu, and I'm like Yuki. I'm part angel and I'm part demon. When my demon side comes out, I forget who I am and I do things I wouldn't do." "So you mean that when you're with Sesshomaru, you don't remember and that your bad side is controlling you?" "That's right," Korra smiled. "Thank God you understand." "It's not a matter of understand, it's a matter of loyalty." "I understand," Korra nodded. "When I'm an angel, I'm really good, but when I'm a demon, I'm really bad. So bad it hurts. I wake up and I'm angry with myself." "I wish I could help you, Korra." Raichu hesitated. "You can, Raichu. Do what you were born to do. Destroy Sesshomaru and all even. Hey, I'm really sorry about the confusion. I'm going to take you out for dinner sometime, Kay. We owns a traditional Mexican restaurant." Raichu laughed. "My dad hates Mexicans. He never took me to Mexican restaurants." "He sounds like a dick." "Yeah, he'd probably kill you if he had the chance." Raichu smiled and shrugged. "Sounds great. I'll come and eat with you at your restaurant sometime soon. Bye." "Goodbye, Tildy." Korra smiled and gave her a big hug. "Wowzy! I've got free following me. Thanks to all my supporters. Let haters hate. I'll never give up. Yeah! On!" Chapter 13. Shower of Rain. "Raichuru, why are you getting dressed?" Denmark asked. He just came out of the shower and was wearing a white backrobe. He looked at her real hard and smiled. "I'm going out with a friend, a girls' night out type of thing, you know, only for girls." She smirked at him. "I know what you're thinking. You think that when girls have sleepovers or go out for dinner, they end up making out." He giggled. "Sometimes. I can't help it. It's a fantasy. A guy thing." "Yeah, whatever. I know all about your guy thing." She laughed as she put on her black silk kimono. She has her hair tied up in a red ribbon like she does for the Yakuza. A red obi with neon butterflies on it. "I'll be at Korra's Mexican restaurant, okay? If you need me, I'll be there. Don't eat anything too spicy, Rai. You don't want to burn the baby." He laughed at his own joke. It was kind of stupid, but that's what she loved about him. Okay, baby, I love you." She kissed him very passionately. "And I always will. Bye, Tildy." She walked out the door with the end parts of the bow on her obi flying in the wind. She was stunning. She arrived at the Mexican restaurant. It was called Les Tacos, aka Them Tacos. A very hip and vibe place. Korra was standing at the door, bowing. "Come on in, Raichuru." She rushed over, and hugged her. Man, I missed ya. I'm glad to see you out of bed and healing well. Yeah, me too. She smiled. It was a fake smile. She still had terrible thoughts that wanted to consume her and make her cry. But it was time for Mexican food, so she couldn't think about that. Okay, ladies, sit over here. Here's your menus, the waitress said. They sat down at a booth. Twinkle Magic was playing on the radio. Thanks, Aya, Cora said. It's nice not to be the one serving for once. She smiled a bite. And beaming smile like the sun. It's really hard being Mexican, Cora sighed. There's a lot of racist people around, and I get very tired of it. Sometimes I just want to punch them. She giggled and smiled. Don't worry. Raichu stuck a nacho into her mouth. I'll beat the shit out of anyone that messes with you. Aha! Cora took Rai's hands. You shouldn't be doing that. You have a baby on board your tummy. Ah, fuck the baby. I forgot about that. I suppose that means I shouldn't have any fancy drinks tonight. No, silly. Cora smiled and shook her head. Shut up, you Mexican, one of the guys from the booth next to them said. Shut up, dickface, or I'll stuff your sorry ass full of nachos. Raichu's eyes turned red and her cat demon nearly came out. That's enough, Rai-chan. Cora sweated. Sir? Mind your own business. You mind yours, bitch, he growled. You... Raichu stood up, but Cora made her sit down. Just ignore him, Raich. Cora spoke softly like a breeze. They sat at the table waiting for their order. Cora got a Coke, and Raichu had her first bubble tea. Wow, what's in this? Whenever I suck on it, I get these squishy balls in my throat. I nearly choked. That's tapioca, Raj. Squishy tapioca balls. Aren't they good? She smiled. You know, it's funny. I'm half angel and half demon. You're half demon, and Yuki's half angel. Do you think we're related? Raichu stopped sucking. I don't know, Ko-chan. That's a weird thing to think. Yeah, she blushed. You're right. Suddenly, Raichu felt a terrible pang in her stomach. Oh, God, she said. It really hurts. God, what's happening? I'm using my angelic powers. I can sense you're giving birth. What? Here? Raichu screamed. Someone help us, Cora cried. Shut up, Mexican, a rude man said. Cora was flustered. Fuck, we're in this on our own. Get red and spread your legs, Rai. I'm doing this. Sri for the long wait. I got a writing spur, and I might write a few more chapters to Ongicht. Chapter 14, Born an Ugly. Cora-chan, it hurts, it really hurts. Raichu closed her eyes tightly. It seemed like it would take an eternity. She had been dilating for a good 2 hours, and her whole body felt like giving up. Hey, Rai-chan, I can see it. It's beautiful. Don't give up now. Cora screamed and held on to the baby. Believe me, Cora-chan, I can't not now. She cried, and her eyes bleed out. The pain throbbed through her temples and to her legs. Screams and pain could be had throughout the entire restaurant. People had stopped eating and was watching intently. Some people threw up. Raichu pushed as hard as she could, and Cora encouraged her through the whole thing. The baby's head came out first, and then Cora pulled her out. Raichu, Cora said, it's a bright crimson light shone from the baby and the lights went out. Floating in the air was a young naked girl with long green hair. She had kind face and a beautiful smile. Her cheeks were rosy and her eyes twinkled. She had brown furry cat ears coming out of her head and 2 wigs on her back. Okasan, spoke the little girl. I am Elaine, your daughter. This is my true form. Thank you for carrying me all this time. A part of me lie hidden in you and in Inuyasha. When you two came together, you made me. For thousands of years, I have lied dormant within people, waiting for the perfect match to find each other. Does that mean I should marry Inuyasha? Raichu said. Her golden eyes sparkled and a tear fell off her face. Okasan, I can't tell you any more about your life. You need to figure things out for yourself. I have created you, and in return you created me. Before I leave, I shall grant you 1 wish. I don't know what to wish for.
Who are you?
Her eyes burned. I'm God. You are the mother of God. I will give you one piece of everlasting happiness. She looked to the ground like as if staring at something intensely, trying to make up her mind. She could be selfish and ask her father dead or ask where Sesshomaru was hiding. Show me where Sesshomaru the Vampire Lord is. Her voice rang out into the stars. As you wish, Oka-san. Between Elaine's, a.k.a. Tenshikuzu, hands, there was a vision of the path to Sesshomaru's secret lair. The perfect time would be to go Ashita. Tomorrow, I see. Rechuru nodded. Sayonara, Tenshikuzu. Sayonara, Oka-san. Elaine disappeared into the light. Cora and a bunch of the other people regained consciousness. Whoa! What happened? She was scarred and panicking. It's okay, Raichuru reassured. Hey, I think I'll order the duck. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Halfway mark to another 10 chapters. Yeah! On. Chapter 15. School days! Raichuru and Yuki were sitting under a sakura tree at school. It was warm and sunny out, and everything smelled of lavender. They were busy skipping class. Mr. Hanayubi, their teacher, didn't care. He knew girls needed time alone sometimes. Wow! And then she flew up into the air in light. Yuki-chan gasped. Yeah, she just disappeared into the air in light. It was pretty amazing. I'm sad to see her go, though. I'm sure Inuyasha would be sad, too. Raichuru sighed and closed her eyes. How's Denmark taking this? He's all right with it. He wanted to see the baby. We were going to raise it together, but Tenshikuzu said that me and Inuyasha were the perfect match. I don't get it. It'll all come to you in time, Rai-chan. Believe in yourself. Yuki-chan put her hand on Raichuru's hand. You're right. I'll be sure to do that. Buzz, buzz. Hey, my cell is ringing. Raichuru picked it up. Hello? Uh-huh. What? No way. I told her she shouldn't watch Pokemon. Yuki sat up. What? What is it? You know why Mina-chan hasn't been at school today? She got amnesia watching Pokemon. The lights that flash do something to your head. I told her she shouldn't watch it alone. That idiot, Yuki huffed. What's going to happen to her? Apparently she'll be calming later. We should talk to her and reintroduce her to everyone. Maybe it will jog her memory. Damn, I hope it does. Lunch will be sad without the Mina-chan we know and love. Yuki put her head on her hand and sighed. Later that day, Mina-chan came in a white car and weakly walked out of it. She wabbled back and forth and tried to keep her balance on the hood of the car. Thanks for taking me to school, Hanade-san.
Yes, Hanayubi-san.
It was their teacher. He was wearing dark sunglasses and a white shirt with a red tie. He got out of the car and led her to Yuki and Raichuru.
I found her walking around my house talking about Pokemon. I decided to give her a ride. She said she didn't want it, but I knew she really did.
He smiled at her.
Aren't you glad now?
Yes, Tomo arigato gozaimashita, Hanayubi-san.
She bowed and walked over to Raichuru and Yuki. Are you Misty? She pointed to Yuki. No, hon. Your memory has really been burnt out. Don't you remember who we are? Yuki put her hands on her hips.
All I remember is the lights flashing and Pikachu screaming.
Mina-chan put her hands on her head and cried immense tears. Raichuru put her hands out. Hey, it's okay. You're safe now. It was all just a bad dream, okay? Mr. Hanayubi took off his coat and put it on Mina's shoulder.
Let me take you to the janitor's closet to dry your tears.
Okay. Mina sniffed and was taken away. Wow, this isn't good.
Raichuru's eyes grew big. How do you think we'll get her back to normal? Was she ever normal? Yuki asked. They laughed. Well, we should get going to class. I hope she does okay with the assignments. Don't get your hopes up. Yuki looked suspiciously. Class had already begun when Raichuru and Yuki got there. Mr. Hanayubi and Minna were already in class. Sensei was talking at the front of the board. Okay, so class, he said, can you tell me what the Bay of Pigs is, Minna-chan? He pointed at her with his pen. She spoke quietly, more quietly than a timid little mouse. Is it when the pigs came to the bay? The whole class laughed at her. Her face turned red like blood with embarrassment. Her eyes became tiny, and the tears started to flow. No, I was joking. The Bay of Pigs is when it's a celebration of the year of the pigs. Everyone laughed again. No, don't hurt yourself, Minna-chan, Mr. Hanayubi assured. You'll figure it out in the next lesson. But I do know! She frantically looked around at everyone. I swear! Minna-chan ran out of the room, crying painful tears. You all need to shut the fuck up, Raichuru yelled. Immediately, everyone became quiet. Thank you. It was very quiet at lunchtime. Minna was still sad about her earlier troubles. I don't get it, she said. How did this happen? Don't think about it, okay? You're gonna be alright. We'll find a way to get your memory back. After all, I am the mother of God, Raichuru said. What? What are you talking about? Minna's eyes grew wide with surprise. I'll have to explain that to you too. Raichuru closed her golden eyes. I hope to see Elaine again. You will, Yuki chimed it. Hey, Minna-chan. Mr. Hanayubi came over. Comment aside about earlier today, you used to be a great student, and you still are, so I'm sure everything will work out. I've got a sweet treat for you. He was grabbing at something in his pocket, and he took it out and gave it to her. It was a ball of mochi. I hope this cheers you up. Thank you. You're so sweet. She smiled. You're the best teacher that ever was. You care about your students more than other people do. Well, they don't call me Mr. Flower Fingers for nothing. He smiled and walked away. It's great to have friends like you around. Minna looked at Yuki and Raichuru. You're the only things that keep me going. We're happy to help, they said at the same time. Do you know how to get my memory back? Minna asked. Yuki put her finger to her lips. Well, I did hear of one way, but I don't think we should do it. We'll have to go to a vampire witch trest to do it too. I'm willing. Raichuru stood up. Anything for Minna's memory back. Me too. Minna stood up also. All right then, I'll have to bring you to her. Yuki sighed. Who? Rai and Minna said at the same time. Luca Megurini, of course.
Finally, now on Lost the Decryption and Awesomeness, it's finally done. Chapter 16, The Witch and the Huntress. It was scary and cold outside. Nothing could be heard but the breathing of Raichuru, Yuki, and Minna. Not even birds fluttered like fishes in the ocean through the sky of everlasting darkness and the stars. They were looking for Luca, who was known for her beautiful singing voice and magic spells that were vasted over people, and goodness did she have big boobs. Other people thought that maybe she was the child of the goddess of Aphrodite. Others thought she was a vampire seductress hidden away in the forest because her looks could destroy a person from the inside out. I heard that she could be a vampire seductress hidden away in Tea Forest because her looks could destroy a person from the inside out. Raichu said, her eyes gazed amongst the stars in the moonlight. If that were true, Raikami, you'd be stuck in the faucet with her. Minna laughed and giggles. She sounded like a sweet little chirping bird in flight on a warm summer's day, in the sunlight, feeling the light on its wings as it went over the world, like a soft airplane. No. Minna-chan, you are so flattering. Raichu blushed, and her face became the color of a rose in bloom. Don't say such things, I don't deserve them. Of course you do, Raikami, Yuki said. Out of all the people in this world, you are the only one who sticks with friends like you do. You are beautiful inside out. Any guy is more than lucky to have you. Come on, we need to get Minna-chan's memory back, Raichu said, and they continued on.
Into the creepy forest.
So, Minna-chan, how long have you been watching Pokemon? Yuki said. I don't even remember that. But I'm sure it's been a while. I only remember the lights flashing and Pikachu screaming. Minna put her hands on her head and closed her eyes. I wish it would stop. Calm down, Minna-chan. Yuki shook her. You're all right now. No one's going to hurt you. Pokemon isn't real. Only if you make it real. Yuki's words reached out and touched Minna-chan like no other. You're right, Yuki. I need to stay strong. Minna's eyes glowed. Hey, Yuki, are we almost there? Raichu looked behind her to see the two following her. Yes, she should just be a tiny bit further. I can see her house. Yuki smiled, bright and beautiful. We need to be careful when we walk in. We don't want her getting scared and casting a spell on us. Bop, 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 bop. Can she really do that? Raichu looked at Yuki with slight doubt like a lost boy. Yes! Yuki was very cautioned. She can do almost anything she wants to. I wouldn't go questioning her unless you want to leave this forest looking like a ogre. Minna and Raichu looked at each other and sweated. Well, here's a house, Yuki said, as they all looked at the great structure that went up into the sky. As they walked in, they could hear a soft, beautiful voice say, Hello! I see you are looking for something. There she sat, on a grand, luxurious chair, was Luca Maggiorini. Her hair was about as long as the floor and was pink with soft pink highlights. She wore a tall witch's black hat that has gold trim around the edges of the brim. She wore a long, dark gray dress that was in two pieces. Her top was dark grey with gold trim around her collar and edges. She wore a gold brooch-like thing on her neck that was on her shirt. She had a headset that was brown with gold trim and a gold zigzag pattern on it. The part that went on her ears was blue with gold trim. On her arm was a brown armband with creases and gold trim. On the head, a brown arm wangers with gold trim and gold writing with a blue rectangle that lights up when she sings. Her skirt was a dark grey with gold trim around the edges. On her waist was brown rectangles of brown with a gold zigzag pattern. She wore brown socks with gold trim that went up to her thigh, and the inside of her skirt was a lighter brown. Her shoes went up to her knees and were gold. They had brown shoelaces and brown heels. Around her neck was a blue collar and her nails were blue. She looked very beautiful. What do you want, children? Luca closed her blue glowing ocean eyes. You could feel how powerful she was and mysterious just by looking at her. Raichu stood up and bravely said, We're here to bring back the memory of our friend Minna-chan. She looked at Minna and Minna stepped forward. Luca Maggiorini, I want my memory back, please. Minna-chan bowed and got on the floor in front of her. Why should I do this for you? I am very powerful and very beautiful. If you want me to help you, you'll have to get someone just like me. How about you? Luca pointed at Raichu. If you want me to restore your friend's memory, you'll have to be more than beautiful. You'll have to beat me at a singing contest! But I warn you, no one has beaten me before. I am a master of music. Raikami, you can do it, Yuki cheered. You beat everyone at the school contest. You can for sure beat her here. I'll use my angelic powers to help her, Yuki whispered to Minna. No, Yuki, Minna shouted. Only demons can control music. You will have to leave this to Raikami. She held on to Yuki. We can only play. You're an angel. You can play. You're right, I can.
Yuki put her hands in front of her and prayed, "Daughter of Raichuru, holy God, help your daughter. She needs you right now. I am your dicky pill. Listen to me. Come to your mother's aid, mother of God, and help your mother. Praying won't help you now. Come, Raichuru. Katsueki neko oni. Come and sing with me." Oh, Luca began to sing Just Be Friends. Her voice flew throughout the wind like the beautiful sound of death. "Don't underestimate me." Raichuru opened her lungs and started to sing My Sanctuary from Kingdom Hearts. Her voice sounded like a flood of despair and beauty. It nearly drowned Luca's voice out. Both of them started to sing louder and louder. Luca sang, "Just be friends, all we gotta do. Just be friends, it's time to say goodbye. Just be friends, all we gotta do. Just be friends." And Raichuru sang, "And you and I, there's a new land, angels that fly, my sanctuary, yeah!" The sounds fought each other like the fire and water tribes. At the final moment, Raichuru's music rang out into the heavens. Her demonic powers took control and her eyes turned red. In her cat demon form, she sang so loud and so beautiful, it shattered Luca's eardrums. "Ah!" Luca cried and fell to the floor. Her ears and eyes were bleeding like a flood of pain and agony, and her voice stopped. Fine, I will give you your friend's memory back." She raised her hand, but before she could cast the spell, she was ripped into pieces. "Ah!" Mina screamed and hugged Yuki. "What the fuck was that?" Raichuru yelled. "You both are pathetic bitches." She came out of the dark. It was Lucy. Her hair was a short pinkish red, and she was wearing a white long gown with no shoes. Her bare feet were on the floor, and her eyes were the same color as her hair. On the top of her head, there were 2 white horns. "You asshole!" Raichuru screamed. "I'm gonna fuck you up. You destroyed the chance of Mina-chan getting her memory back. I've always wanted to fight you. You think your life is hard? You don't know my life." "I know your life," Raichuru said, coldly like the ice-cold night. "But you don't know mine. Do you know what I have had to go through to be here?" She slammed her fist into the wall and made a 10-foot hole. Lucy stumbled back a bit. "I've always wanted to fight you." Lucy took out her hands. "I'm gonna bloodbend you in half, Raichuru." "Not before I do!" Raichuru whipped out a hand, and they began to bloodbend each other. They struggled and struggled, both their arms shaking with the power. A demon's power to bloodbend is a lot more stronger than yours. Don't talk so mighty. Just watch, I'll win. Lucy looked at her in anger. "What makes you say that?" Raichuru looked deep into her blood-red eyes. "I'm not alone." Chapter 17, Reign of Heartbreak. "What are you talking about?" Raichuru's eyes burned like the fire of the sun. "Who's with you, Lucy?" Her eyes widened with surprise and she nearly cried tears of anguish. Standing next to Lucy was her father. "Daddy, what are you doing?" He was cloaked with his face hidden, as usual. "I have a surprise for you, Raichuru. At first I wasn't going to invite you, but since you are my daughter, I thought you should know. Come and see me get married to your new mother." He grinned, an evil grin of hate and darnkess. Everyone gasped. "No, this isn't what I fucking think it is!" Raichuru cried. "That's right," Lucy said coldly. "Me and your daddy are getting married. There's nothing you can do about it. Nothing!" Lucy laughed, a cruel and sadistic laugh. Her eyes were blood-red with pleasure. Raichuru's father leaned in on Lucy for a kiss. Their lips and tongues met, and it was like a bomb went off in Raichuru's heart, exploding and sending blood everywhere. "That's fucking disgusting. I'll never go to your wedding." Raichuru threw up in her fucking hands. "You nasty disc." He threw his head back and laughed. No, my dear, you will come. I formally invited you to my wedding." He handed Raichuru a pretty wedding invitation card. "At least consider it, won't you, dear? It's going to be really beautiful." She took the invitation. "Shut your mouth! You'll be lucky if I take another loo at it." The invitation burned in her hands like placing your hand on a hot stove. Tears of blood started from her eyes, and she felt like she was going to cry. Why would he hurt her like this? "Me and Lucy both have something in common, and she is my type of girl in bed." Her father smiled. "I hope to see you tomorrow, Rai-chan. Bring your little brat too if you want." "Suck it, Daddy!" Raichuru screamed as her father and Lucy flew away into the air. Damn it, Raichuru cried. I can't believe this. That bitch and my father. This is all too strange. Like death has crawled into my mouth and is poisoning all of my organs. I feel like I'm dying from the inside out. Yuki put her hands on Raichuru's shoulders. Don't worry, Raikami. Everything can still work out. How? Tears of blood came down her cheeks. You know what will really get to your father is if you killed him. And Lucy that day, in front of everyone, he'd be so embarrassed. Her eyes shone brightly as she smiled. Yuki, Raichuru gasped. That's perfect! No, that's better than perfect. Those two will pay. She was so excited. Mina, I'm so sorry about your memory. That is one thing I wish we could fix. Suddenly a strange feeling overcame Raichuru. A lusty feeling. She felt like she needed to drink blood. Her eyes became blood red like the sun, and her veins popped out of her head. She could feel the hunger in her... Raikami, you're giving us that look, Mina said, scared. Raichuru went over to Luca's body and began sipping up what was left of her. It tasted so wonderful, the blood of a witch. The blood dripped all over her mouth and body. She started smearing it all over her, rubbing her arms and legs and back. She wanted to live in it. She wanted it in her. She bit off part of Luca's arm and chewed it down like a fleshy Twizzler of satisfaction and blood. Raichuru! Yuki grabbed her. Stop it, you're scaring us! Stop it, please! Raichuru just looked at her and growled. When she was done, there was nothing left of Luca but her clothes. Then suddenly a light shone from above them and Elaine appeared. She flew down to them and her long green hair floated around her like as if she were swimming. She was naked again like she was at birth. Okasan, Elaine spoke, you have shown great bravery coming here and defeating the terrible witch Luca Megarini. In return for your bravery and heart as a true friend and warrior, I will give Mina-chan's hearing back to her. Elaine raised her hands into the air and a light shone around Mina's head. She could feel the essence of life running through her like rushing river water to the south. Thank you, Mina equals Chan cried, tears of joy and happiness. Thank you so much. This means everything to me. You're welcome, Mina-chan. Take care of Okasan for me, will you? You too, Yuki. We will. Yuki and Mina said, Bye, Tenshikuzu, Raichuru waved. I shitaru you. I shitaru you too, Okasan. Elaine blew her a kiss and disappeared. We'll need to do some fucking shopping for this wedding. Raichuru smirked and looked at Mina and Yuki. Yawn! Alright, fucking serious hentai warning. Jeez, if you can't handle it, then move on. Chapter 18, Blood Love Rain. It was nearly midnight. The breeze was cool with the shouts of the people, if the dead. Something about it just screamed sex. He was there. She was there. Lucy stood in the moonlight with her long red hair fluttering in the wind like butterflied in the wind. She had a silk white see-through robe on with a white silk see-through belt around her waist. Her white horns shone in the wind and moonlight like as if they were glowing. So beautiful. Raichuru's father was aroused at the sight because he could see her boobs. He walked over to Lucy and put his hand on her butt. You know, he said, I've got to tell you something. He looked deeply into her crimson satin eyes, glowing like a fire of desire and want. You don't know who I am, do you? Lucy's voice was faint like a tiny kitten and in love. No, I don't. You've never showed me your face, but your body is all I need. She wrapped her arms around him like string. I must show you who I am, Lucykin. He gently lowered his hood from his head. Lucy gasped. He was a lot uglier than she imagined. Lucy looked upon his yellow hair and builded body. You're Gokukin. His hair was different. It was really short and spiky, and he was rather tall. I've traveled into the future, and I met this beautiful fuckwoman. That's when I had Raichuru. Until one day the little bitch killed her own mother. I should have thrown her to the streets when I found out that she had a cat demon. His eyes glowed with the fire of hate and destruction. I had already fallen from my past as a hero and began using drugs. This didn't make it any better. He would do anything to kill his daughter and wring her neck to bits. Lucykin, it doesn't matter who I am. I still want to do you. I want your ass. He squeezed his hand on her butt. It's so round and voluptuous.
Hey, Benton, don't crap your pants if you see a vampire out there.
Get lost. You wouldn't recognize a goddamn vampire if one jumped up and bit you on the end of your fucking dick. So just get off my back.
He gently took Lucy down and landed them both on the edge of the boathouse. It's nice we got to celebrate our honeymoon early, isn't it? That's right. Lucy wrapped her arms around him and kissed him. I can't wait for the wedding tomorrow. Raichuru's going to pay for being the little brat she is. Goku smiled and laughed. Lucy laughed, and they made love for the rest of the evening. Whew! Thank God it's finally chapter 19, Tilde. Aren't we excited? I am! Sorry, Lo, a little hyper because my new episode is taking tons of images to make. I'm very tired. It's usually only around 60, but this is super detailed, so yeah. Tilde. A few people complained about my Japanese. Fine, I will include more into the story. I could translate this all into Japanese if I had to. Chapter 19, Rain on Your Parade. Come and let's go. We should be getting to the bride shop as soon as possible. I know what I want to wear, and I think I'll look super cute in it. Raichu smiled her hide and closed her eyes. There might be stuff you guys will like too, Yuki-chan and Mina-chan. Raichu took their hands in a soft weeping motion, like a bird flying lowly, and they began to walk out of the dark forest. I'm so happy your memory is back, Mina-chan. We were really worried about you. Yuki smiled at her. Thank you for all you did for me. Especially you, Raikami. I don't know where I'd be right now if you hadn't been for Raichuru and willing to fight Luca Magurini. It's a pity she had to die. She sounded so beautiful, Mina said. Of course, not as beautiful as your voice, Raichuru. I didn't know you had it in you, but deep down I did, Yuki said. A noise sounded quietly like a rusting through the bushes. Oh, Kami. Oh, God. Raichuru whispered, and dry, leafy whisper like as if her throat was crusty and covered in hard dirt. I know this sensation. I know who this is. He stepped out of the bushes, his red coat long and torn in many places like as if he were to have been in a battle with hungry dogs. His smile was twisted like the mean dick he was. His long tongue slipped through his vampire teeth like as if to say, Konnichiwa. It was fucking Alucard again. His Japanese name is Avocado. He laughed like a madman. He took off his googles to look at the three young girls in front of him. Well, Yuki, it's nice to see you again, he smiled. I wish I could say the same. Yuki looked at him coldly back with the essence of an ice blue. Cousin Raichu, Ketsueki Neko Oni. How are we today? I see you've been drowning your postpartum depression in blood and fear. How's being a mother? How's being knocked up at the age of 17 feel? At least I've been with a woman, Raichu hissed. I've gotten laid more than you, Sunshine. Alucard wiped his long black hair out of his deep crimson eyes. I'm still one of Sesshomaru's henchmen, and he wants you dead. To be honest, I might actually miss you when you're gone, but I rarely have no choice. He pulled up his gun and aimed it between her lusty golden eyes. Night-night. Suddenly a car burst through the trees and flattened Arucado like a steamroller. It was the same familiar white car they had seen parked at their school every day. The window rolled down and he peeked his head out, smiling at them and removing his sunglasses.
Top of the evening, girls. I saw 3 young girls deep in the forest looking lost, so I thought I should stop by and if I could do anything to help them, and it turned out to be you 3. Hey, what are you guys doing?
They all bowed. Konnichiwa, Sensei Hanayubi. Mina spoke softly like the fur of a baby rabbit. We had just finished some business here, and now we were going to go to David's Buraidaru. David's bridal, to get some maid's dresses.
Oh, who's getting married and who's the lucky man?
Sesne Hanayubi said and continued to drive the car. Raichuru's father, Yuki said. And that bitch Lucy, Raichuru chimed in. Sensei Hanayubi looked surprised.
Oh, you mean that quiet girl in the black of my class? I never thought she was all that bad. She's had a tough life, you know.
Getting with someone's father is now I know she's doing it just to annoy me, Raichuru said and crossed her arms, leaning back on the seat.
There's nothing wrong between the older man and a younger lady such as yourself. All love is pure, and there should be no boundaries.
Easy for you to say, Sensei, Raichuru sighed. Hey, Raichuru, Minato-chan said. He's kinda cute.
You shouldn't say that about your teacher,
Sensei Hanayubi said, and laughed. No, I was talking about Raichuru's cousin. Please don't say that about him, Raichuru said. They all got hungry, so they decided to stop at the local KFUshi to get some friend chicken. And hopefully a soda. They made their order. A bucket of special KFUshi crispy chicken, mashed potatoes, baked beans, and Pepsis. They drove up to the counter, and he was there in a red apron and a little hat. Yuki-chan rolled down her window. Kuta-san, she said. What are you doing working here? Have you been doing this for a while? He said. Yeah, for a while. Did you order the crispy chicken basket with the mashed potatoes and basked beans and 3 Pepsis? Yes, we did, she smiled. Hey, Lucy told me that her and your dad are getting married, Raichuru. Is it true? Raichuru's eyes watched toward with blood-red tears. It's true. That stupid bitch. I don't know what to do to stop her. Yeah, she can be pretty rough. It's because she's retired and has brain damage and nobody likes her, Kota said. Hey, I gave you a special gift inside of your KFUshi meal. He handed them the bag of food. Thank you, Raichuru sighed. She took the bag and they drove off. Hey, what's this? Raichuru put her hand in the bag and pulled out a music box. What do I use this for? I don't know. Mina-chan looked at it and thought, Hey, Sensei, we want to go to David's Buraidaru, if that's okay with you, right?
Sure thing, I'll drop you guys off there.
Thank you. All 3 of the girls said at once. They were at the bride shop. They saw lots of beautiful dresses. Some were green, some were pink, and some were ugly. Raichuru stumbled upon a pinkish dress with light pink ruffled trim on it. It had no sleeves, the dress she wears at the end of my videos. Hey, this is beautiful. I need to go try this on in the changing rooms. Raichuru looked at the dress in beauty. See you in a bit, Raichuru. In the stall, Raichuru came into her dress. Easily. She easily got it over her curvy thighs and small waist. Suddenly she heard a faint crying on the other side of the wall. It was a cry of pain and agony. Hey, who's in there? Raichuru leaned up against the stall wall. None of you fucking business! It was Lucy's voice. Her name is Rushi in Japanese. Ever since I was born, I've been hurt over and over again. My parents left me, and some boys beat my puppy to death, and my friend got shot. You don't understand, Raichuru hissed through her teeth like the angriest snake. I killed my mother. My father wants me dead. I have a demon that lives inside me. Many people want me dead. Do you know how it feels to be me? Do you have any idea what it feels to be me? It's going down at the wedding. You both are going to pay for being the heartless, cruel people you guys are. I look good in this dress. Probably better than you. Shut up! Raichuru sat up and was walking out the door when Lucy said, See you in hell, bitch. Raichuru turned around and opened her golden eyes, her lips rosy red, and she said, I'm already in it. Episode 4 is going to be done very soon. Please submit any fan art soon. I'm so tired, but I must write. Chapter 20, he's back. Did you pick out your dress, Raichuru? Mina-chan asked. Whoa! That looks very beautiful. New! Do you really think so? Raichuru blushed and twirled around her in dress. Should I be worried about showing up the bride? She smiled and laughed because she was kidding. She wanted to show up that little bitch. They went to the counter and they all paid for their new dresses. They were really excited. Yuki felt very beautiful in her white slavey-less dress with a pink heart in the middle and a pink mini-scat. At the counter was Miku. Her long green pigtails flooded over the counter like a waterfall of green.
It covered her papers, and she had to brush them away. Shit, this hair. Miku continued to brush it off of the papers. What would you ladies like? She asked in a sweet, fruity, refreshing tone. We're buying these. She dropped the bag of dresses onto the counter. This should be enough. Raichu reached into her pocket and pulled out $50. Sure thing, Miku said. What a pretty dress. Are you getting frisky? No, we're going to a wedding. My dad's, Raichu said in a dark voice. Dark like night sky. Miku's face lit up and she said in a cheerful tone. Oh, how cute! Daddy's little girl is going to his wedding and seeing him get married? Shut the fuck up! It's terrible! Oh. I see, .. Miku blushed red. She rang up her total and gave Raichu her change. See you ladies later. Good luck at your dad's wedding. She doesn't understand! Raichu shied. Yeah, Yuki-chan mumbled in a tiny muffled voice. Hey, Mina-chan said, we should invite Rin and Shippo. I bet they'd get a blast out of what we'll do to your dad. Raichu deviously looked at Mina and smiled. Definitely. They love to come. Come on, let's go. The three of them stood at the door of the blue-painted house with white trim. It was Rin's and Shippo's house. Raichu pulled the rope that sounded the bell that rang through the house, warning the owners that someone was at the door. Rin and Shippo came to the door. Both of them were wearing pink bathrooms. Rin had her arm around Shippo's waist, and she kissed her on the cheek. Hey, Raichu, Yuki and Mina-chan. What are you guys doing here? Shippo smiled. How's Uncle Inuyasha's baby? Raichu looked distant, like as if seeing something far off. She's gone away now. It rather breaks my heart, but that's not why we're here. Oh, Rin looked surprised. Then what is going on? I want to cordially invite you to my father's wedding. She sighed. Why would you do that? You hate your dad. I'm going to ruin his wedding. I want you guys to be there to see it. How does he feel about you having a child? I wish we could have children, but we both prefer being women. She rubbed her belly and sighed. I really wish we could, honey. Water filled Shippo's eyes, and tears of sadness slowly rolled down her cheeks. Rin kissed her gently on her lips. So would you guys like to come to the wedding? Mina blushed and asked. Hell yes! Rin slammed her fist down into the table. I want to see you bring this jackass down hard! Her eyes beamed bright and her hair moved with her action. Alright then. Raichu put her fist up in the air. Yeah, on! See you at the wedding. The three girls waved goodbye to Rin and Shippo as they left the house, and Rin and Shippo left them at the door. Yuki, Raichu, and Mina were back in the car. They were busy discussing the wedding and what they were gonna do to get Raichu's father back. They were really excited and ready for tomorrow. They were driving down a beautiful road. There were trees on both sides and the pedals were falling over the car and getting stuck on the windshield. Through the trees they could see a figure. The figure got closer. Hey, what the fuck is that? Mina-chan screamed. Jesus, it looks so disgusting. I can't bear to look. She looks dead. Raichu studied it with her eyes. The dead girl was Kagome. Her flesh was rotting and her hair was messy with blood. It looked like she'd been dead for 1,000 years and had just recently came back to life for revenge. Run it the fuck over! She took the wheel and creamed Kagome. Blood squished onto the road and one of Kagome's eyes poked out. I think she's dead, but she wasn't. She put her booty hands all over the car and got up to the car window. Hey! Kagome whispered, I heard you guys for looking for Shishomaru. I know where he is. The asshole did so much shit to me, I'll tell you where he is. He's in Cave Kurakami. She looked at Raichu. Wait a minute. You're that bitch who had Inuyasha's baby. Why did you do that? What I do with the people I love is none of your business. You didn't take your chance to have him, and now he came to me. What can I do? I've known him longer than you, and I have loved him almost longer. Bitch, I will kill you! Kagome raised a hand toward Raichu to scratch her. Suddenly her face was blown clean off. Her loose skin sagged and fell off her face. Everyone gasped.
Alucard wiped around his cape and faced toward Raichuru. He was holding a gun, pointed towards where Kagomi's head was. Headshot, bitch! His crimson eyes flashed like fire! Raichuru didn't even shake. Really? You're still around? No wonder you were such an annoying cousin. She brushed her turquoise bags out of her face. What do you want now? I'm not even going to bother killing you. You are the biggest pain in the ass to kill, so what are you up to? Going to Daddy's wedding? I was just going to ask you that. I'd love to see your reaction to his downfall from my revenge. Raichuru blew off her nails. Why the hell should I go? I bet you can't do it. I bet I can. If you come and watch, I can do a favor for you. Alucard pulled off his gloves and sighed. Sure, sounds really good. What are you offering? Raichuru smiled deviously. Well, since you have such a hard time getting women... Yeah! How about you date Mina-chan? Rai giggled and shrugged her shoulders. Mina waved her hands back and forth quickly. Raichuru, no, I can't do that. I'm too scared. Your cousin, It's a deal. Alucard licked his Lucius lips and shook Raichuru's hand, signaffing and confirming their deal. He smiled at Mina-chan. We'll have a good time. It's a date before the wedding. Not feeling well right now. I think I have a cold. Anyways, sorry for any delays. Asterisk, sniff, asterisk. I actually am snifing a lot. Yeah! Tilde on! Chapter 21, Doomsday. It was the day of the kidding. The day of ultimate tears and hate. Raichuru woke up with many bad feelings and regressed, and a deep, dark feeling in her heart where it used to be. She sighed and looked, to the golden sun, the sun that was there from the beginning of time. Thinking of everything, she began to cry, but then she felt her arm brush against something. She opened her golden and blue-trimmed jewelry covers and saw a little face beneath them. It was Elaine's. She threw back the covers even more and picked her up. Yeah, she said, squeezing her. Elaine groggily opened her red eyes and speaked like a kitten. Oh, Oka-san, you're so squishy. Honey, I'm so glad you're here. Raichuru rocked back and forth and held her. I thought that maybe I'd never see you again. Baby, I haven't known you for too long, but you're still my Aka-chan. Aishiteru Tenchikuzu. Aishiteru to you too, Oka-san. New! Is the wedding Kyo? He big red eyes bugged and shined. Hi, Kyo Desune. It's a really sad time for me, but it could be the greatest. Gop! She squished her face with her kitty fists and feel into Raichuru's chest, and Raichuru laughed. She tilted her green head and looked up at her mummy. It'll be okay, Oka-san. Grandpa's bad. He won't get away with what he's doing. That's right, dear, and neither will Lucy. She kissed her on the forehead. I hear Auntie Mina-san is going on a date with Uncle Arukado. Her face wiggled into a squint. New. Are they going to kiss? I sure hope not. But I guess he isn't that bad. Raichuru was severely confused when Elaine got up and started down the hall. What are you doing, Aka-chan?
I'm gonna go tease Auntie Mina-san.
She ran into the living room, swaying back and forth like a green boat with legs. Mina was swearing, a pale blue little dress. Mina-san, she tugged at her blue dress, are you going to make sweet love to Uncle Alucard? Mina's eyes bugged. What the fuck just came out of you? No! Where did you get such an ungodly idea like that? Yuki came out wearing a towel. She took the towel off and snapped it in Mina's butt, causing her to yelp. Mind your language around the child. She owns me. And I am her protector. Tenshikuzu ran up to Yuki and hugged her leg. I will protect you, no matter what. Yuki smiled. All right, you two, I'm going now. Mina said as she walked out the door. Me and Alyu-san are going to Les Tacos. Raichuru came out and waved. Be home by 6:30. The wedding is at 7. Yeah! Till they're on! New! Elaine waved. lived. He drove up in a sexy black and sleek Chevy. It was high off the ground and had big wheels. Alucard peeked his head out of the window and smiled. Hey, Minna-kun, you ready for a good night and some hot ass burritos? If you're trying to make this better with you, man, it isn't working. Minna scowled and sighed. We better get this over with. She began to step up into the big car, and he held her hand, pulling her into it. My, you look very lovely. He smiled with his vampire teeth hanging out. I can almost eat you up. Minna looked worried. I won't. They pulled up at Les Tacos, and there was Cora at the door again, greeting all the customers. Cora waved. Hey, you two, looking cute. She winked. I have a special seat over here for you guys. She led them to a booth with hearts strung over it next to a radio where love songs were played in Spanish and Japanese. I'll come tight back for you guys, Kay. Mina-chan blushed. My, this is lovely. They were sat down at the table, and they looked at the menus. What are you doing? Alucard peeked over to see Minna's menu. I'd like to check the health values to see if what I'm eating is good for you. She blushed, and looked uneasily away. You live too safely, you poor girl. I'll show you many adventures and take you to many places. I bet with a big of adventure you'd turn into a smoking adventurous wife. Is that all you're looking for in me? Don't you think you should calm down? She sighed and continued to look. Hey, cutie, I'm mostly playing with you. I'm not like that. He blushed a little and moved back to his menu. I think I'll try the everything wet burrito. Minna looked at the Heath values for the everything wet burrito. Jeez, this thing is really bad for you, huh? Are you sure you want to stick that in your mouth? Fatty cheese, deep-fried tulips. Does that say fish-shaped toxic waste? Hell, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. With a 10-foot pole. If that 10-foot pole is my tounge, I think it looks delicious. Come on, Minna-kun. At least try it once. Alucard smiled and nudged her with his pointy elbow. You know you want it. I can tell it in your purple jewel eyes. All right, let's make a deal. I don't want to pay for 2 big, nasty burritos and what, so we'll get 1 ginormous one, and we'll share it. Alucard laid down his wallet. Chivalry may be dead, but I'm paying for this dinner. Still, I'd love to share one with you. His red eyes beamed, and he licked his lips. Sorry to keep you guys waiting. What would you two like? Cora came around in a cute maid's kimono and pen and paper. Alucard cleared his throat. 1 big, ginormous, hideously messy and wet everything burrito. Extra cheese and 2 Pepsis. My, what a big order. You two are going to explode and send wet everything burrito all over the customers. Better than bloody placenta. Minna laughed in thought of Raichu. Don't make me sick, dear. That's my cousin. Alucard rubbed his face and took off his gloves. Cora laughed. I'll be black. Alucard took his gloves off and grabbed the tortilla chip filled with salsa. He reached his hand over and hovered the chip in front of Minna's mouth. Well, what are you doing? Minna blushed. Is that for me? Open. He opened his mouth and said, ah, like this, see? She could see his pointy tounge, and she nearly barfed, but it was still really sweet. Minna opened her mouth. Ah! He placed the chip into her mouth, and she crunched on it. She did the same to him and laughed, and he wrapped his tounge around the chip and took it into his mouth like a captive. Cora came back with a big, sopping, wet everything burrito. Here's your order, you two. Aw, that's so cute. She lowered the burrito down to their table. See you guys in a bit. Enjoy your romantic burrito. They both waved. Thanks. They smiled at each other, tearing off bits of the burrito and swallowing them down fast. It was the best they ever had. Burrito juices poured down their cheeks like waterfalls. Minna covered her face with her hand and laughed. Oh man, she said, this is freaking delicious. I never wouldn't tried it if it weren't for you. I had a pretty good time today. She took another mouthful of burrito. Oh man, I love Mexican food. I don't know what they do to peanuts to make them so good, but it's really great in here.
Alucard spit out the burrito. His eyes bugged out and his face turned wild with red. What? Peanuts? What's wrong? Minna yelled and put her hands on him. No nuts can go near my mouth, especially peanuts. Alucard shut up like a jack-in-the-box and vomited like the Exorcist girl. Oh, God! He screamed, and his face turned puffy and lumps appeared on his cheeks. That's why I always read the health warnings. Minna cried tears of worriedness. You'll be okay. Oh, God. I remember the first time I drank the blood of a boy who had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Damn, that was terrible. He started coughing out blood. Shit. He threw up some blood on a man's shoes. Be careful where you aim your face. That's damn gross. The man slapped Alucard across the nose. You're next. He coughed and wiped his face of the blood. Sweat and tears were streaming down his face. What the hell's happening? Cora ran to them. The hell? Alucard, I'm calling you a hospital. The ambulance came and took Alucard away in a gurney. Before he left, he wrapped his fingers around Minna-chan's fingers. She cried. Hey, Minna-kun, he said in his dark vampire voice. See you at the wedding. Her voice trembled. Oh, okay, Alu-kun. Sorry for the long wait. Was really busy with episode 5. Oh my God, I can't find male voices. But all the animation is done. Expected soon. Now for what we've been waiting for. But definitely not the last chapter. Chapter 22. Strange music at the wedding. Minna got back from the hospital worried. She was still in her beautiful blue dress, and she was ready for the wedding. Lots of people were at the wedding, including Cora, Shippo, Miku, Hatsune, Rin, Inuyasha, Denmark, Yuki, Elaine! Asa, Fie from the Fanime, based on a real person. Germany, Kikyo, Kuwata, and others. They all look disturbed and uneasy because of the evil imitating from Goku, Raichu's father, if you don't remember. The theme of the wedding is night blue and blood red. They actually look rather beautiful together, but not as beautiful as the clouds in the sky above the whole wedding. Goku and Lucy looked lustily into their eyes and smiled, feeling the pain from everyone around them. Raichu was standing off in the corner, looking through the crude, and her silk turquoise bangs at them. Her soft, furry ears twitched with anger at the scene. It made her sick to her stomach. The bell rung, and everyone sat down in their seats, waiting for the groom and bride to make their speech. Raichu Kami, you're here! Yuki exclaimed. She grabbed her and held her, tears from streaming down from her pale, soggy face. Of course I am. Who would miss their own father's weeding? Raichu smiled sarcastically. I swear to Kami, when this is over, I'm going to rip him to shreds like wet toilet paper. Maybe I'll shit on him too. Yuki giggled. I wish you the best of luck. I'm sorry for you. Lots. She shook her beautiful silk golden hair. It blew in the breeze like the most beautiful blonde and blood waterfall. Her blue angel eyes shed crystal tears that would be worth millions, but worth nothing in the hands of evil. Everything will be put to right. This is our life. We weren't put on this earth to suffer for all eternity and never feel the steamy embrace of love or eat food or die. We were put here to make a difference and make the world better. If it weren't for my father, I wouldn't be the person I am, helping everyone and making a difference throughout the world. Without that bastard father of mine, I wouldn't have learned who is right and who is wrong, where we go in life, who to love, what my calling was. I may be a demon, a cat demon nonetheless, and a vampire. I may be the most hearted person on this planet right now, but if I oughtn't know what love is, then Kami help me. Today will not be the day I let my will down, bend or break. Today is the day I will survive and show everyone in the world who I really am. My power! The power of love, the power of truth. Raichu's eyes swelled with tears at her own words. Even though everyone might think I'm doing this for the wrong reasons, I'm not being selfish. I have a child to care about, and nothing will stop me from protecting the one I love. This is how I love, and this is the day I will take the power back from my dad and prove myself to the world. I've watched you grow up, Raichu, and I am proud of you. Remember who you are and your calling. Don't let anything get in the way of your destiny. Yuki put her hand on Raichu's shoulder, and they knew they were the most connected friends ever.
I have a trick up my sleeve.
Raichu glared and smiled at the same time like a kabuki mask. Goku tinged his wedding glass. Sit down, good folk. Goku smiled like a devilly asshole he was. He twiddled his fingers and fudged with Lucy's hair. She smiled at him, a toothy, sick grin. Immediately everyone sat down in a hurry. I'm very happy you all came to my wedding, he said. You don't know how much this means to me. Real, don't clap. I know you all can't concha in your happiness. Everyone glared at him in disgust, including Raichu. Now I know that I'm not the most handsome man in the world, but I landed the most beautiful and hot woman here. He laughed and smiled, but don't worry, it's not just the sex. She's the most strong and aggressive woman I know. You're not going to get away with this, father! Raichu stood up from her white seat and pointed at him. You don't realize what you're doing! Don't be sorry! He shook his blonde hair and smirked. Silly, silly bitch. It's a wedding. It's not illegal. Nothing can help you. Play the music. My new wife should be coming down the aisle any moment now. She emerged from he bushes in a long width dress with no straps and white sleeves. She had a veil covering the horns that grew from upon her head. A broad smile covered her face, and the wedding music was played. She came down the aisle, smiling and waving like the Queen of England holding a bouquet of blood-red roses. Blood came streaming from Raichu's eyes like a waterfall of the most sickest pain. Lucy and Goku stood at the microphone. I love you, Goku-kun, and no one can look at it. She glared at Raichu, smiling. She knew what she was doing. We've been together for a few months now, and I've been waiting for this day since I was a little girl. I wouldn't be happier. Anyone else? She fake cried like a mean bitch. Shall we get married now? Before the bells ring, Raichu stood up. I have my own speech that I would love to give to the bride and groom. The lovely bride and groom. Everyone clapped as Raichu went up. They clapped unsurely, not knowing what she was going to do. Yeah, on, Raichu whispered. As she passed by Minna and Yuki, Goku and Lucy were extremely curious. Raichu cleared her throat. I've known my father since I was about 6. Why did I not say since I was born? I never really knew my father. I didn't know that he would be so heartless and sick to abandon and beat his own daughter because of what she was born with. But enough about me and my dad. We have dear Lucy here, too. Lucy's eyes widened. Well, Raichu continued, I never fully understood why you were such a bitch in class to me and my friends, and now you're marrying my dad. Good for you. You only 17 and you're fucking this ugly asshole who's most likely using you. Raichu clapped sarcastically. Really awesome, Lucy, but I have a present for you. Pleasant? Lucy felt a cold sweat down her neck. Raichu slowly pulled out a box. A beautiful box. She opened it, and the most beautiful tune came out from the music box. It was Lilium. Lucy's eyes bugged out, and she fell to the ground, helpless. She gasped and wept. The tune was so beautiful and sad, and it told her whole life story without saying a word. Before she knew it, she was innocent Mew. Lucy, baby, what about our wedding? What about destroying Raichu? Goku grabbed and shook her. Lucy! Lucy looked at him with her big crimson eyes. Mew? She squeaked. Mew! Mew! She scratched him and left a scar across his face. She looked disgusted and afraid of what she was wearing. She threw the bouquet down in his face and stomped away off the stage. The whole crowd stood up and cheered. They knew that he wouldn't be able to do it. Yuki and Minna beamed in happiness like children in the park. Mew came running to Raichu and hugged her. She finally broke the spell. Mew had been trapped in the cold husk of Lucy, trying to get out. Lucy was taking over, and finally she was free. I'm glad to see you back to normal, Raichu smiled. We can be friends again. It's been so long. Mew, Mew agreed. "Oh, Raichuru," Goku sang out, "you're missing something." Raichuru looked up and he was holding her daughter hostage. You! I'm going to fucking kill you if you hurt her! Raichuru screamed. "Mama, get me out of here!" Elaine wailed as she was flown away into the dark sky, Raichuru's father laughing the whole time. "Kamino!" Blood poured from Raichuru's eyes, furiously, and she tried to wipe it away but couldn't. What? Episode 6 is going to revamp something. New intro. As to some of your questions, why I call New Mew is because in the English version it is pronounced Mew, I think. And also Elaine says new a lot, and I don't want everyone confused, lol. Neon! Chapter 23. Ritual Under the Rain. Raichuru watched as her dwagger's green hair disappeared into the blue ocean vast sky. The world seemed to stop for a minute, and the angles began to cry. Raichuru looked towards the floor like as if something were on it that she's focusing intensely on. Tears of blood and pain began to flow out of her cuticle, causing her eyes to turn red like she had a severe case of pink eye. Elaine was the only daughter she ever had, and one of the only people she could trust the most. She was still her baby girl, even though she rapidly aged within the second she was born. Now, she was gone. Raichuru, still facing the floor, cried and squeaked. "It's all my fault! I got too cocky with revenge and forgot about what I needed to protect mostly. She may be gone, but she still needs her mother. And she's only a little girl." She wiped the blood away from her eyes, and it smeared all over her face like paint that had been washed off but still left a hint of red. "I promised. Elaine, I will get you back, and I will be the best mother there is to offer, whether you can do things yourself or whether you can't. But first, I need to get you black. Yuki, you can sense God because you're an angel. Please tell me where Elaine is." "All right, Rai-chan." Yuki focused her thoughts on her powers and tried to sense where Elaine could be, but she got nothing. "Raichuru, the spiritual powers won't let me search for Elaine. They don't want to help you." Raichuru screamed and stamped her foot. "Why not?" Blood squirted out of her eyes furiously. They don't believe that you're a fit mother. They want you to do something for them before they let my brain power through to connect to Elaine's mind. The air is hot and thick with spirits. They are like a sharp bush, too sharp for my mind to get through. Raichuru's lips parted, and she let the hair slowly move between them and escape into the atmosphere. "What do I need to do? I am willing to do anything." Yuki's eyes widened. "You're not gonna like it, but I won't tell you because if you know, you'd be discouraged." Raichuru smiled and nodded. "You see?" Yuki continued. "There are spirits and there is God. God controls one thing, while the spirits around her control other things. Elaine is the goddess of light and truth, as I am the angel of light and truth, and that's why we ended up knowing each other in this life. The spirits will want you to atone for your sins in order to get Elaine back. It may not be pretty. Rai-sama, we will need to take you to the Temple of Spirits, and you will have to appease them. Are you prepared to do this? Anything! Yuki! Mew! Mew squeaked and grabbed onto Raichuru. "I want to come too. I feel connected to Elaine, and I want to get her back, if possible." She looked up at Raichuru with her big red eyes that had a hint purpley pink in them. "And I'll come too." Korra stepped up to them. "As I am an angel, and you are the mother of God, it is my duty to protect you." Yuki smiled. "It will be the four of us then to travel to the Temple of the Spirits. Raichuru, prepare yourself." They arrived at the temple, which lay deep within the heart of the forest, hidden away by the tall trees. The air was thick and heavy with a subtle sense of overwhelming sickness and death. Raichuru's nose twitched as they approached the place. "Sniff, sniff. I can smell blood," Raichuru said uneasily the closer they got. "I can feel and smell the pain that permeates from this ruin of rock. What do they do here?" Yuki sighed and looked at Raichiro. I can't tell you, or else you'll run away. You're so close, Raichiro, don't spoil your chances. Raichiro nodded in knowledge. The outside of the building has carvings of fabulous birds with wings and sharp beaks. The birds resembled the angles, though they weren't white like angles. They were tan because they were rock. Green vines wove in and around them, and the building was quiet. As they stepped inside, they could feel the spirits talking about them, muttering unspeakable words, like when the mean girls at school whisper behind your back, like as if you can't hear them or know they're talking about you. Their steps echoed and rang through the room like tiny bells. Suddenly, many voices whispered loudly to them. They all spoke at once, saying, We know why you're here. We know what you seek. Now will you stay strong, or will you be meek? I'm going to stay strong, said Raichiro boldly. She took a deep breath in, and the smell of blood was strong as it was coming from the end of the hall. I will do anything to see my daughter back in my arms. Please tell me where she is. Why should we? You make quite an unfit mother. You've committed many crimes, and you have made acts of selfishness. You have killed your own mother, and you have killed many people, and you've cheated on your love. Who are you to be raising God? Raichiro bowed her head. I am sorry for everything that I've done, but I am only 17. Yuki and the others nodded in agreement. Sorry? Are you truly sorry? I'm afraid the spurts call for punishment and rebirth. The only way your sins can be washed away is if they are washed away with your blood and pain. The punishments are different for each element. God's element is light and truth. You'll have to atone for both light and truth, for you have spoken many lies and have darkness in your soul, being a demon. Continue down the hallway and find your punishment. Raichiro put on a strong face. Yes, so I shall. The air was thick with the smell of blood. It was so overwhelming that it almost made even Raichiro nauseous. The four of them traveled down the rest of the hall and into another room. There were torture devices hanging on the walls, and gallons of blood splattered across the room. On the shelves were the labels darkness, earth, water, power, trust, act. They were the elements. The device that laid on top of the trust section of the shelves looked like an ice pick. On the handle it said, ear. Lucy, Cora, Raichiro, and Yuki shivered as they walked past them. Raichiro was dying on the inside, waiting to see what would lie upon the truth and light shelves. Finally, near the end of the room, they came across the truth shelf. A white, blood-stained cloth lay upon an object of some sort. Raichiro sweated and looked at Yuki. Yuki nodded. Raichiro reached out her hand and pulled the cloth away from the object. It was a mask. But unlike an actual mask, it didn't have anywhere you could see out of. The eye holes were covered up. Raichiro picked up the mask and looked at it. Slowly. She turned the mask around to look at the inside. Her eyes bulged out, and she began to cry. There were 2 large nails where the eyes go. I can't do it, screamed Raichiro, and threw it on the floor, and it made a loud clank. She collapsed to the ground. Mew picked up the mask and looked at the inside. There was a label that said, Blinding Mask. Yuki grabbed Raichiro by the arms and knelt down to her and spoke softly. You know what you has to do, and I know you'll do it. Mew handed the mask to Raichiro, and she grabbed it with displeasure. Should I close my eyes? Raichiro speculated. Yuki, should I? Before she knew it, she was pushing the mask into her face. The bloody nails pierced her open eyeballs and sank into her skull. Ah! The most demonic and painful scream came from Raichiro, which roared throughout the temple. Lucy and Cora covered their ears as Yuki wrapped her arm around Raichiro's shoulder. Just one more punishment to go, and you'll pay for your sins, Raichiro. I'm sorry. It has to be done. It hurts! It hurts! Blood ran down her cheeks and onto her breasts and heart. No, I can't. I can't. Come on, Raichiro. Yuki and Cora took her by the arms and legs and dragged her to the next punishment. What's going to happen to me? Please tell me. What's next? Raichiro cried and kicked with the mask still lodged in her head. I can't tell you, Raichiro. I can only help you. Be patient. Just survive through the next punishment. I can't stop the bleeding. Yuki smoothed out Raichuru's hair. Raichuru foamed at the mouth, and saliva ran down the corners of her mouth and choked her. She was incredibly scared, just waiting in the darkness to feel what would happen to her. There was no way out of it. It would happen. They forced her to stand up against the wall, and they took her arms, tying them to the next device. They tied her legs to the wall. "Don't do anything more to my face, please," Raichuru sniffled. Yuki caressed her face with her hand. "No," Yuki said, "not your face. Don't assist in this, Mew. Only the angels can do this. We don't want to spoil your soul. We don't think you should even watch this." Mew nodded and covered her eyes. Raichuru, "This one's for light," Yuki said, as she pulled on a lever, and Raichuru immediately felt her arms be pulled upwards. "Ah!" she choked out. What are you doing to me?" she cried. To more pulls, Raichuru. Yuki paused for a moment and breath. She pulled the lever a second time. Raichuru's arms stretched far over her head, and she could feel the skin tearing all around the joint. "Oh my Kami! Stop this now! Do it already, Yuki!" Her pleas came out broken and scratchy. The muscle in her arms was slowly ripping in half. "Oh God! It's like yoga gone terribly wrong!" Do it. Yuki finally pulled the trigger a third time, and Raichuru's arms ripped completely off, leaving nothing but her shoulders. Blood formed in a puddle at her feet, and she collapsed once again, nearly fainting in pain. She could feel all of her life's liquid drain from her body. "Come here, Raichuru. Raichuru, I'll stop the bleeding." Yuki's faded voice sounded in her ears. They all helped Raichuru to her feet and walked her out of the temple. "How do your eyes feel, Raichan?" Korra asked her. Raichuru's face was covered in dry blood and spit. "Not as bad as they did. I'm used to crying blood."
Merry Christmas, Joyeux Noël, Maligayang Pasco, God Jul, Feliz Navidad, Merry Kurisumasu, Chrisamasa Ke? Back? Man? Ubaba? Adina? Shengdan Kuale, Noleg Shona, Vesele Vanoche, Meli Kulisimasu. Chapter 24. A Rainy Christmas. Some rainy tears. Ring! The first bell sounded through the hills of Akuma no Uta High School, telling the students to go into their classrooms as the snow fell down upon the grounds and knocking off the remaining leaves from autumn. Even though it was Christmas, they still had school because they needed to. Peach trees bent forward like little old men with hunchbacks and arthritis. The fruit rotted and the ground was frozen. The trees were dead. A dead peach fell off one of the branches and rolled across the doorway of Sensei Hanayubi's math class. Inside the class were our 5 heroes and friends. Raichuru, Yuki-chan, Mina-chan, Aza-chan, and New/Mew-chan. I'll be calling her New for this because Elaine isn't really in this chapter. They were sitting together listening in on what Sensei had to say. You could smell it was Christmas because some of the children had brought cookies and other treats spiced with holiday spices. Raichu and her friends were busy nibbling on some cookies that New and Kuta made. Mina stepped up to the front of the class with a cookie. "Oh, hey-oh, goshimashu, Sensei Hanayubi." Sensei Hanayubi looked up from his math sheets and smiled.
"Oh, hey-oh, my dear. Merry Christmas."
He propped his arms up on his desk and leaned on his folded hands. "Merry Kurisumasu, Sensei." She looked at her green and red frosted cookie and held it up to him. "I thought that the best teacher in the world deserves a sweet treat on Christmas."
Ooh!
He took it gratefully.
"But thank you. The holidays always seem empty to me, but this is really nice. The best gift ever gotten today. Thank you, Mina-chan."
Do itashima shite. She bowed and smiled, going her merry way back on her desk. Hey, Mina-chan, Raichu said once she heard her got there, because she doesn't have eyes. We have an idea what we're doing for Christmas. Yes, Yuki said, we'll be doing Secret Santa. We each randomly pick a name out of a Santa hat of names, and then buy a gift for that person. She clasped her hands together and her blue crystallized twinkled like satyrs. I love Christmas. Alright then, Asa boobed. Asa is one of Raichu's friends who is very tall with crimson hair with a hint of purple tone. Let's get started! Give me that Santa hat. She took the hat and fished her hands into it. She smiled at them and then pulled out a name. Ooh, she said, it's your turn, New-chan. You pick. New. New looked at her and tiled her head. No! You will look. I want, said Asa. You should pick now. And she turned away. New. New screamed and thrusted her head into a Santa hat. She smiled and put the folded paper into her skirt pocket. I know what I'll be getting. You! Wait, who? Raichu said. I'm not telling anybody. No. It could be you or you. She held the hat to the next person, and they kept doing that until everyone had picked a person to give a gift to. I need help, Raichu said. I can't get the paper or read it. Can someone tell me who it is? I can. Sensei Hanayubi was right behind Raichu. And he pulled a name out of the hat and read it to her. Your person is Denmark, he whispered. What? But they aren't in our... What can I say? That's what it says. Merry Christmas. He put the Santa hat on Raichu's head. How can I get a gift for him? She thought. I can't even see what his gift will look like. Rats? Raichu sighed. What's wrong? Yuki asked, her voice delicate and whispery. I'm blind and have no arms. How will I pick a gift out? It's okay, Raichu. Use your heart, Mina said. You're right. Yeah, and that's what she did. Ring, ring. The bell made its loud sound again. It was time to go home. Let's meet at my house after school, Asa announced. Well, give presents then. Everyone agreed and they all left. Later on, Raichu was out shopping with the help of Rin and Shippo. They held on to her shoulder knobs to stop her from falling. It was really cold and Raichu was wrapped up in a red and green scarf. It was around her neck. Since Rin and Shippo are dating, they wore opposite colors. Rin wore a red outfit and Shippo wore a green outfit for the holiday. They walked along the streets with Raichu looking through the shop windows. What do you think Denmark-sama will like? Shippo asked. Oh, something sportsy or warm, Raichu thought. Oh, how about a trench coat? That sounds Mo. Rin chirped like a happy little bird, and they went into a coat shop. As they looked around the clothes, Raichu rubbed her head up against them to see which ones felt the warmest. She sniffed them, too. This one feels good, Raichu smiled as she buried her nose into a thick brown fur coat like a dog smelling something good on the carpet. Yeah. Definitely this one. It's perfect. She squealed with joy. Rin got the coat and checked it out at the register. Is this all you want? Asked Miku Hatsune. She folded it up and got it prepared in a box. That will be $12.50. Whoa, that's cheap, Rin exclaimed. Miku's teal crystallized bulged. No, $1,500. She nodded and her maid's headdress bobbed. Rin blushed. All right, Shiryu. Do you have that amount? Well, yeah, I got it for this month's work at the Yakuza. We've been slow lately. She thought about it. Anything worth a smile on his face. Ring it! Meow! Miku grinned and rung it up. Rin and Shippo were walking Raichu out shite.
going home to Az's house for a Christmas party and opening presents. They fitted Denmark's jacket around Raichuru's shoulders to keep her warm and cozy. As Raichuru blindly made her way, she felt her foot gently bump something. "Ah!" Raichuru said, startled. "What's that?" "Oh, be careful," Shippo said, moving her. "That's a little kid." The little kid was very dirty. So dirty he was almost black? And skinny. He looked up at her with faded brown eyes. I'm sorry, ma'am. I got no shoes, and I was in your way." "That's okay," Raichuru said, looking down in his direction. "What are you doing out in the cold anyway? It's freezing balls out here." The little boy hesitated and looked away, then he looked back. "Well, I have no home, ma'am." "Not even on Christmas?" Raichuru's voice saddened. "It's awfully cold out." "Yes, it is, ma'am. Sorry again." His voice dimmed. "Well, hey, wait a minute." Raichuru turned to her shoulder and bit the coat, dragging it off her body and towards the little boy. She leaned over and hung the coat over his head. "Is this for me?" he asked, and Raichuru nodded. He took the coat and put it on. "It's like a house on me. It's huge." He hugged himself in the coat. "Arigato! Merry Kurisumasu," the three of them said, and they left. Finally, they were at Az's house. Festive lights were hanging off of the walls and merry Christmas carols were playing in the background. People were smiling and drinking punch within the gingerbread-scented rum. Azza ran up and hugged Raichuru, squeezing it really tight. "Hey, Raichan! Man, it's easy to crush you without your arms in the way." "Merry Kurisumasu, Aishiteru." Raichuru laughed and grinned. "Aishiteru." "Nay, Raichuru." It was Denmark's voice. "Oh, hi. How are you doing?" Raichuru said as he hugged her in a warm embrace of love and trust. "All right, you?" Raichuru shrugged her nubs. "Can't complain much." Yuki took a glass of wine and clanked a fork to it to get everyone's attention. "It's time to open gifts." Everyone screamed in excitement and ran to the tree. Yuki opened up her gift first. "Oh, it's from Azza," she said and smiled. She pulled it out of the box. "It's a Kingdom Hearts T-shirt." She giggled and held it to her boobs. "Thank you." Azza clapped. "You're welcome. My turn." She took the gift. "Wow, this one's from Mina-chan, and it's pretty small." She opened it up. "Oh my god, earrings! Thank you!" Yuki took a box from under the tree and held it up to Raichuru. "Use your teeth to open it. It's for me." Raichuru tore apart the package. "What is it?" Yuki stuck it in her mouth, and she felt it with her tongue. Then Yuki took it out again. "It's a crystal figurine of Rihanna." "Thank you." "No problem," Yuki replied and smiled. "Raichuru, that must mean you've gotten me a gift," Mina squeaked. "What? No. I got Denmark for whatever reason." Raichuru frowned. "Oh well. That's okay," Mina said dishearteningly with sadness. "Me?" Denmark said. Well, well, well." Raichuru blushed and sighed. "I'm sorry I gave your coat to a homeless kid. I didn't have anything warm on me, and my scarf isn't much." Denmark leaned in and kissed Raichuru on her sad red lips. "You're all I need for Kurisumasu." He held out a box and opened it. "I know you can't see it, but it's Yoru gift. It's a diamond ring. Will you marry me, Raichuru?" "Yeah!" Raichuru gasped and turned red. "What? Denmark? Yes!" She jumped into his arms, and everyone cried in happiness. They all cheered and hugged each other, wishing each other a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. After they had the party, they all went home. Mina was walking alone on her way home, when suddenly a figure stood behind her. He was coughing into his jacket and stepped up to her to greet her.
"Hey, Mina-chan," he said. "Why do you look so down?"
Secret Santa got mixed up and I didn't get a gift. That's okay though, I was with my friends for Kurisumasu. She kicked the snow and Wheelky smiled.
Well, you gave me a gift earlier, so I thought I should give you one.
He held out a little kitten with a blue bow wrapped around her neck.
I found her a while ago and took care of her, and as much as I love having her around, I think she'd be happier with you, so Merry Christmas.
She took the kitten into her arms and her face grew bright. Thank you, Sensei. Merry Kurisumasu, everyone.
Happy 25th chapter.
Oh my god, this hasn't been updated for such a long time. Ain't sorry. There's more sounds in here. Because Raichiro is blind, so I'm simulating what she's hearing at times. I hope I'll still read it. The story isn't over yet to all my followers and fans. Chapter 25, A Secret in the Rain. It was just a few months after Christmas. Raichiro still hadn't mobed back in with Geni-kun because she had no arms and eyes. He didn't want to take care of a blind, armless woman, so their weeding is waiting. Raichiro lay in her bed, ashamed and sad. The sound of Denny's voice ran through her head. "Marry me," it said. She couldn't stop thinking about it. It was more beautiful than a baby bed, just hatched. Still tender and innocent. A knocking was at the door! But it was very late at night and people coming didn't make any sense. She thought long and hard about it, using her slight brain powers. She lifted herself up from the bed and stood up. Like a blind woman, she stumbled to the door going, "Hold on, who is it?" And a soft voice answered, "I'm here to take care of you, Miss Katsueki Neko Oni-sama." It was a boy's voice. He sounded so sweet, sweeter than the sugar on a glazed donut slash. Raichuru's heart perked up. She heard that voice, but where? Her big fat breasts flooped as she ran into the door and said, "Well, I guess I'll let you in." "Who sent you?" Her cute little nose wiggled. Her furry ears picked up his voice, and he yet again quietly said, because he's the shy sort, "I'm him, Amiru. Last name wa Nekono Umikigo. You can call me Amy. I heard that you are critically crippled and in need of a servant, or a Hosyu boy that can lend a hand." Raichiro was confused, for she had not sent out a notice about needing a little boy to help her with her no hands. Sure, that sounds good. She unlocked the door with her teeth and let the bloke in. He was shaking and coughing. She could hear the secret rain pouring outside. The sounds of his feet wiping crap onto the welcome bat filled her with trembling Nico ears. "May I get you some tea, milady?" He smiled and cocked his head to the right. "Yes, Dozo," Raichiro thought. But then a senses came to her. "Wait, are you getting paid for any of this?" No. The boy shook his arms like a toddler shaking spaghetti on a fork. "This is all my own goodwill. I'm trying to get good karma." "Oh, is that all?" "Yes, ma'am." He took a pot of water and steamed it. "Sit down, Miss Katsueki Neko Oni-sama. I'll get you some sweet chamomile tea, or maybe some green tea, Earl Gary." Amiru said this as he took Raichiro by the nubs and guided her to the couch and sat her down. "Oh, Amy, I think I'd love some Earl Grey." She smiled and sunk into the cautions that huged her body like saran wrap around curvy meatloaf. As he was preparing Raichuru's early grey tea, he asked her questions about her life because he was interested, like, "So what is life like for you? What's happening? I'm soon to be married to my boyfriend Denmark, but he doesn't want to marry me right now because I don't have any arms or eyes." "He sounds gnarly." "Why wouldn't he want to marry you because of that? You need a man to help you even walk." He delicately tipped the tea bag into the tea.
Well, it's not just like that. He's been through a lot. I cheated on him with my old friend Inuyasha and had his child who turned out to be God. Then my dad was trying to kill me, stole my little girl, and to try to get her back, me and my angel half-sister, Yuki Shinkuchi, went to the Temple of Spirits to make amends, which meant pulling my arms off and gauging my eyes out to save my daughter, and that didn't really work. So the other day he asked me to marry him, and that's why he's stressed. Oh, well, that is a lot. Amiru nodded and sighed. He smoothly took the tea over to Raichu and put the cup up to her mouth. Open your mouth and prepare to suck some hot liquids down. They continued like that and chatted about her life. Then Raichu asked, "What's your life like, Amy?" She could hear him smile and slightly laugh. "Oh," he said, "I've never known my mother or father. Well, I knew who my mother was, but I never got to really talk to her. I'm sorry about your dad. He sounds like a real wanker. You are what you eat." They both laughed. He eats dick. "What have you been doing with your life?" "I was thinking of being a scholar and learning how to be very smart. But then I just ended up as a butler. I'm rather poor. Please just let me live with you in your nice house, and I'll do anything you ask of me. Anything." Of course, I wasn't saying no lol. "Now please just take me to bed, and that will be all for tonight." "All right," and so he did. He helped her up the stairs and tucked her into her bed. "Oh, yasumi nasai, Miss Onisama." He turned off the light. "Nyan!" She purred herself to sleep. It was early in the morning, and the lights of the sun seeped in through the windows to shine upon Raichu's sleeping petite face. The phone rang. It was loud and obnoxious. She used her feet to pick up the phone and sat it by her head. Hello," she said. "Who is it?" "Oh, it's just my darling." It was Denmark. His words spoke like sugar, but his tone wasn't very happy. "Sleeping well without your arms?" Raichu laughed it off like a joke. "Oh yeah! When do I need them? When I have a pillow." He nubs wiggled. "What have you been doing today? Huh? What have you been up to?" Raichu was very confused. Like a Chinese man in a place like England. Why am I doing this? Nothing. I haven't even woken up until now. Hey, when will we get married? When you get arms! And he hung up the phone. Nah! What the hell? Raichu cried bloody tears of pain and sorrow from her non-existent ears. Suddenly, the room to her door opened, and someone came in. "I just got back from shopping for you, Miss Ketsueki Nakaoni. Here we've got parsley, onion, tomatoes, potatoes. Hey, I can make a spaghetti tonight, eh?" He took out a leek and smiled. I want to have arms again!" Raichu cried and flayed her knobs. "My boyfriend seems to really take that to heart, like having no arms. Ruins his image of the perfect women for a perfect wedding. Maybe it's because I won't be so good in bed anymore." "Oh!" Amiru ran over to her and hugged her. "You still have your mouth, don't you?" Even though it's filled with cat teeth. He laughed but realized the joke was a little unneeded. "I'm sorry, I'm trying to make you feel better. Miss Oni, I know just the girl I can house call that can give you arms." Of course. Of course! Right, yes, obviously. I hate this. I'm a friend of her friend. She's done wonders for his arm. "Oh," I yelled it. "Really? You mean it?" she said, groping his shirt. "Hi. She's a little rough, but I can make a house call, and my friend will gladly pay her way over to Japan. She'll make you a metal arm, but I can ask her to put skin-like material over it, so it looks real besides the stitching at your joints. It'll move with your brain. Can she get here today? Raichu was smiling, and a beautiful sparkling tear of happiness rolled down her cheek. Can she fix my eyes too? Ha! One thing at a time. It would take a miracle. Now, I'm going to make a call. She may arrive today, but she could be tomorrow. So be patient. Or anything. Thank you so much, Amiru. I'm glad you're my new Balta. This is the help I need. Amiru went to the phone and dialed the number. Click, 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 click. Ring, ring, ring. Yes, hello, I believe I know your friend. Yes, yes. Aha. I was wondering if you could provide your service for my friend. Please make her 2 automail arms and include some highly durable skin-like material to go over it. Raichu could hear a woman speak on the phone, and even though she couldn't see it, Amiru was smiling at her because he was getting the responses he needed. Sugoi! That's fantastic. Amiru, Nikono, Umikego. What did you say your name was, ma'am? Winry Rockbell. We'll see you. Chapter 26. Oh, the pain of automail. It was almost 4:02. The sun swayed in the distance and began to make its journey down front hay sky. It was setting in golden haze. Shadows from the trees went to the right and across the sidewalks while the breeze cried int he autumn hair. Amiru was at the stove busy cooking some spaghetti in a big boiling pot, while Raichu waited at the window like a kid waiting for his ice cream cone to be served. Are you sure you don't want to play any games, Onisama? Time will not fly by that way the time fly by, he said, smiling. No, Raichu sighed. What games can I play anyway? You don't expect me to play I Spy, do you? She shook her head and plunked it against the window, distressed and sad with pain and anger. Amiru came to her with a silver platter that had the spaghetti neatly served on it. He sat down next to her and held up a fork with a twirl full of noodles and sauce and meat on it. Okay, Raichu, just open your mouth. And trust me, I won't stab your gums with a fork. Hee. Say ah. Raichu obediently opened her mouth and said, ah! Suddenly the fork was jammed in her mouth! Ah! What are you doing? She muffled through inches of spaghetti. I'm feeding you, what do you think? He asked, and he kept piling more and more spaghetti into her mouth. Does it taste good, Raichu-sama? She gargled, As he continuously shoved more and more spaghetti into her mouth, the doorbell rang. Ring! Oh, blimey! Who could that be? He gently put the fork and plate down on the table while Raichu still struggled with chewing spaghetti in her mouth. He gasped when he looked through the window. Oh, it's the automail girl! He chirped like a little bird. Quickly he rushed the door open, unlocking all the locks that kept them from going to the outside world. Good morning, my lady, he said, taying Winry's arm. She wore a red bandana over her head and a black tube top with a purple sweatshirt wrapped around her body hips. Well, hey, what's up? She said, taking his hand and shaking like a hearty man. Who is the girl in question of needing an automail? I see, she said, looking at Raichu's nubs. Yeah, you could definitely use that. I didn't just bring the materials needed for making an automail arm that looks authentic. I heard about her eyes, and I decided to get some glass ones for her, just so she looks normal, you know? Okay, fine, yeah! Raichu screamed. Winry sat down in front of her, taking out a wrench and preparing artwork on Raichu. All right, Raichan, prepare yourself, because typically when putting on automail, people have a lot of pain. Okay? I can handle anything, Raichu assured. Ow! She said, as the first incision of metal was made. Well, now see, it isn't too wheezy, now is it? Winry worked the wrench around, getting the metal onto Raichu's left arm. Wiry! How long are you going to take in here? Edward Elric burst in through the door. Man, I nearly died of heat in the car. God damn it! Winry screamed as she made a wrong move. Raichu's hair was all tangled up in her now metal arm like the spaghetti around that devil fork. Look at what you done did, Shorty! She threw the wrench at him. What happened? Raichu cried. Asterisk, jiggle, asterisk. Oh, bugger!
Amiru turned pale. Nothing much, you just got your hair stuck in the automail. Well, Eve prepared for this. She marched off into her bag and searched for something. Winry took out a pair of long scissors and made a snip-snip noise with them. You're not cutting it off, are you? Raichuru said cautiously. It's just a little bit of hair. It will eventually grow back, right? Once I get your hair off your head, then I can work on pulling the remains out of your arm, Kay. Be strong, Raichuru, Amiru assured. Sorry, Raichuru, Edward replied in a low, dark voice. Oh, Winry took Raichuru's hair. Your bangs are stuck in here a little too. They're gonna be a bit shorter after this. Sorry. She took the scissors and started cutting away. IT's fine, Raichuru pretending. It wasn't really all that fine. Raichuru hated the thought of losing her hair, and if she had eyes, she would be crying a little. Squick, squick. The scissors made their terrible noise as they cut into many strands. Squick. We're almost done, Winry said as she got around to cutting the back. Now I know I ain't no hairstylist, but you're going to look fine afterwards. And short hair does you justice. Anyway, so don't worry your pretty little head. Yeah, I'm sure it will. Edward smiled. Amiru cleaned up the bits of Raichuru's hair that was all over the floor. He flushed them down the toilet. Now we need to put the skin on Raichuru's arm. It's not real skin. It's what they used to make dildos, Winry added. What? Nothing. She smiled. Since there will be joined and the skin will cause them to stiffen, there will be no skin around the joins. Sorry, but at least you can't see it. Winry wrapped and cut the skin around the arms. The skin will be stressed around the joint and look fun. Sorry about that too. It's all fine for the sake of being able to use my arms again. Raichuru flinched as she was still tender from the automail being put on her nerves. All right, Winry said excitedly and beamed at her own work. Wow, this is the first time Eva ever done this. And it doesn't look half bad. The skin's rather durable, so if you still want to fight, you can, but I suggest using protection. Try to move your new arm, Raichuru. Raichuru opened and closed her hand, while looking at it because she was used to looking at things, even though she couldn't see. Well, this is working really nicely. Oh, and for the final touch, Winry forced Raichuru's empty eye sockets open and inserted 2 glass eyes. They were both orange, and even looked like cat eyes. I had them custom made because I knew your eyes were special. I have special eyes! Yup. She ruffled Raichuru's hair. Amiru sat down beside Raichuru and started combing her hair. All right, Oni-sama, just sit tight for a little while. I'm going to clean you up and you'll be ready for anything. Even though you have your arms back, I'm going to stay because you still need help seeing, okay? Sure thing, I'm glad to have you here. Okay, Edward, we're going. Don't you ever burst in on me with a customer again, okay? Winry took Edward by the ponytail and dragged him out the door. Bye, Amiru! Bye, Raichuru! Thanks for contacting me. She waved. Bye, and thank you, they both said. Later that evening, Amiru left suspiciously early. What are you doing? Raichuru said, groggily half asleep. Oh, I need to go somewhere. He paused. I promise I'll be back before you wake. Amiru, Raichuru cooed. I may be going soon. I need to find my daughter. If I'm not black when you come back... I'm sorry? That's perfectly understandable. He nodded. Good luck where you go to get her. I need to contact my friend Yuki to see if she can feel Elaine yet. Raichuru said that and then Amiru left. Raichuru used her new fingers to ring up the phone dialing Yuki's number. Ring, ring, ring. Oh, hi, girlfriend. Yuki's voice picked up. I could sense that your automail is on. That's right, it's working great, Raichuru smiled. I was wondering if I could feel Tenchikuzu. Yes, I can. I know where she is, Raichuru. We'll need to meet tomorrow. Your dad has her held captive on a remote island. I can fly you there. Good. Pick me up tonight if you can. I have a beating I want to set on that guy. But if only Elaine's there, we'll need to take her.
Sure thing. I love you, Rai-chan. I love you too, Yuki-chan. Bye. And Raichiro hung up. Raichiro continued to open and close her hand, feeling how odd it was to have machinery on her. She felt up the metal bits on her arm and sighed. Oh, well, it isn't so bad, she said. That evening, Yuki came flying in her window. Her beautiful white wings flapped in tea breeze, like two sails in the sky. She landed on the window sill and smiled. I've come for you, Raichiro-chan. So have I, a voice came from Yuki's back. It's me, Mina-chan. Hee hee. Oh, Raichiro said, rushing to a window in her nighty gown. How are you guys? Good, they replied, and Raichiro hopped into Yuki's arms. Where exactly is
The island.
It's hardly far from here, Yuki exclaimed. They flew over the town, and Mina and Yuki spied on people in their houses and laughed on a guy sitting at his toilet reading Etchy Etchy Paradise. The cool air was nice and the stars twinkled beautifully. Soon our island came into view and gradually got closer to them. We're nearly there, Yuki smiled. I can't wait to see my Aka-chan, Raichiro cried. They glided onto the sands of the beach on the little island. Raichiro's ears perked up and she began to hiss. Something isn't right here, she said, mysteriously like a detective who's found a clue. Chapter 27, Tears Like Mine. I can feel it too. It's sickening, like you're drinking gallons of spit. Yuki replied, my stomach hurts. The island was quiet, and nothing was heavy but the thick air that lingered and loomed a sad tune around the three girls' heads. Mina tried to desperately warm herself by hugging Raichiro while Yuki looked around the beach. Elaine! Are you here? Raichiro's voice echoed through the wind of the mountains on the island. I don't think she's here, and if she is, she isn't okay. Do you think she's alright, Yuki? Raichiro's golden eyes twinkled the stars, reflecting them. I'm not really feeling her anymore. Not in my heart, Yuki said, worried, with her hand on her chest as she wore a white tunic like one-shoulder outfit. Well, you kids, you all just missed the party of the year downstairs. I was hoping you'd be coming, Raichiro. His voice was cold and vibrated through the misty air of the deserted island beach. Sesshomaru the Vampire Lord! Where's my daughter? Raichiro's veins popped out of the sides of her face as she went red. Alls he did was snickered and waved his hand in the air. What does that mean, Sesshomaru-sama? Yuki cooed in her airy voice. You haven't killed her, have you? He smeared and raised his hands. I don't know. Maybe I did. They all gasped. You see, Raichiro, thousands of years ago, a group of people of the Shinto religion came to this very island. Okay? They practiced the Shinto way until one day they came upon a small young child. He had long blue hair and black wings. Assuming he was evil, they pulled apart his limbs until he died. For the next few months, the crops of their land withered and fucked out. It started with the island, and then it spread. They realized the mistake they had made killing that one boy. They ended up worshipping him and their deity, and creating the Kamimichi Shinto religion, or unknown god, resembling that this deity who they guessed controls certain parts of the earth comes and goes in different forms. Raichiro crossed her arms and nodded in his direction. I understand how that works now, but why do you care about what happens to me? What do I have to do with this? I came here for me daughter, but you obviously have more of an agenda. You're a very curious person, Raichiro Katsuek Nekaroni, and it's a pity you won't be able to see your daughter once you find her. But I have nothing to want from you. You're lying! Yuki pointed a finger at him. I can feel it in your soul! Whatever you think I'm doing doesn't matter. He shook his head and smiled. You're here now. He clapped his hands and a dark mist came out of the sky, heading towards the three girls. Raichiro and Yuki braced themselves. A large hole opened up in the floor, and the black mist grabbed all the girls, taking them into the belly. All three of them woke up within a dark, hostile room with a hint of evil. There was a slight light of moonlight shining in through a barred hole in the ceiling. They all looked at each other and sighed. Is it over, Raichiro-chan? Yuki-chan? Mina whimpered and hugged her knees. I shouldn't have let you come along, Yuki said. It's my fault I knew it was too dangerous. I'm sorry, Mina-chan. She put her hand over Mina's and squeezed it. It's okay. I'd rather all die together than for you two to disappear and never heard of again. Mina squeezed back and smiled. Raichu felt her way to their hands and grabbed them. I get it now. Why my daddy and Shishomaru the Vampire Lord teamed up against me. My father just wants me dead, and Shishomaru wanted to stop the birth of the Kamimichi Shinto god. She laid her head on the cold rock wall behind her and faced towards the moon. I'm the key to keeping this world in the light and bringing the god back to this earth so it can mature and set things right. I don't think I'm the right one for the job, though. I've made too many mistakes, and am not even that enlightened. Why in the world did God pick me and Inuyasha to sleep in? We're all still very young, Raichu. You even still have maturing to do. Tenshikuzu wouldn't have picked you if she didn't think that eventually you'd become the perfect mother for her and the whole world. Stop asking why and start doing. Even if you turn out to be unsuited for bringing and raising Elaine into this world, you are still a part of this story. You can be the person who turns things around and makes them right, even if you're not the last person who do it. What you do now will aid the next Mother of God to keeping this world in the light and not letting it all shatter. Raichu nodded and stood up. You're right, Yuki. She gently felt the metal bands around the joints of her fake arms. Even if I'm destroyed, in the end I still need to do my part and not give up. Nyan! She felt around the rocky wall until she hit a spot that seemed shallow. Okay, you two, you better stay away because I'm about to bust a hole in this. She kept on hand on the wall, and with her other hand she made a fist. She tried to punch a hole through the well. Yuki, I'll need you to help me. Yuki stood behind her and began to bat her wings, concentrating all the energy from her wings onto one spot on the wall that Raichu punched. She bolted through the wall, causing rocks from on top of them to fall on them. Yuki wrapped her wing around Mina and herself to protect them, while Raichu used her metal arms as an umbrella. Yuki and Mina stood in a big bright light that shone on their faces coming from a hallway through the hole. Oh, Raichu! Mina cried. The skin on your arms is being torn off. Raichu instinctively faced towards her arms, but she still couldn't see anything. It doesn't matter to me. I can always get that redone, but later! They marched out of there. Holy my hand, Raichu, Yuki said. You're going to fall into things if you don't. Thanks, Yuki, but I think I can be okay. Raichu held her arms out and moved through the holloway. She walked for a while before she noticed that Yuki and Mina were being too quiet. Mina-chan, Yuki-chan, where are we now? Mina's voice came from the far end of the room they were in, quite and timid like a shy. Raichu. And you feel them staring at you. Them? Raichu's heart began to race, and a little. Who's them, and are they dangerous? She got ready to fight. Yuki's voice came from within Raichu's head. One-chan, I need to show you something. Let me into your mind so you can see what I'm seeing. And that's what Raichu did. Through Yuki's ears, she could see that there were rows and rows of incubator tubes filled with glowing green liquid. Inside those tubes were clones of Raichu. Most of them had their eyes closed, but some had their eyes open, or slightly opened. Every once in a while, one wouldn't have developed a head. They were facing towards Raichu. Oh my god! Yuki! What are all these things doing here? Why would Sesshomaru do this? Raichu buried her head in her hands and shook her head. The clones shook their head back and forth in unison. Well, damn! It seems that you found your little friends. A slender man in a black outfit and white gloves with an apron came out from between some of the tubes. You may call me Sebastian. I am a demon, but I'm also your surgeon. My surgeon? Raichuru yelped. Yes, Evior Saint Seshomaru, the vampire lord, found out that you birthed the god of the Kamimichi Shinto religion. He's been trying to figure out your molecular structure and physically recreate you so he can birth an anti-god. He laughed. Oh, Miss Raichuru, don't you think you can't sit down for a while? Have some tea? No, Raichuru grumbled. I need to find my daughter. She drew out a long sword. Oh dear, I nearly forgot. Sebastian took out a long banana from his pocket and fiercely threw it at Yuki's head, successfully knocking her out. Then it bounced to Minna's head and knocked her out too. Oh, sorry, I didn't have anything else handy in my pocket. He giggled. Now that Yuki's knocked out, you're back to being blind, aren't you now? Yuki-chan, Minna-chan. Raichuru sighed and backed into a wall. Her voice became bold and angry, like the bull. I'll rip myself to shreds before you two do. There is no other reason that I was given Elaine besides the fact that she chose me. Making a clone of me will not solve your questions. What? Sebastian raised his eyebrow in questions. You were chosen? Oh, but there must be something inside your body that allows you to have the ability to hold such a foreign entity. Raichuru shook her sad head back and forth. I am nothing more than a cat demon vampire. He licked his Lucius lips and rubbed his surgeon tools together in excitement. Well, you don't know everything. We'll find out. Raichuru put her hand to her head and knelt to the floor. What's wrong? Sebastian asked. Oh, did you forget that your daddy is here somewhere? Watching? She began to shiver and cradle her head. You don't need to tell me that I can feel it. I hear him laughing in my head. It sickens me so. She could feel the world start to roll and pulsate. Her body twisting and turning, and the rage building up in her heart. She let out a demonic meow. Her eyes glowed red, and a whippy brown tail grew out of her butt. Black wings came out of her back, and she snarled like the devil. Sebastian looked shook, and in one fell swoop, she slammed her fist into the wall, causing rocks to fall down and break the incubator tubes the clones were in. All of the clones fell to the ground and began to crawl out, meowing. Those incubator tubes are constantly being filled and replaced with water, you know. This whole damn room is flooding, Sebastian yelled. He ran out of the door and tried to lock Raichuru inside. Many of the clones dissolved into the hollow floor and became dust, not frightening Raichuru. Others just fell to the floor, stood up and stood there. But one clone came towards Raichuru. She smiled. The clone spoke in a dark, almost robotic voice. I know where our daughter is. Hentai warning, there's an explanation for it, but it's kinda hidden. Like symbolism? Thank you for the wait. I had like half of it done for a long time, but the fanime is taking up so much of my time. And school. Chapter 28, Caramelized Tears of Blood. Raichuru could only feel the clone's hands rest upon her shoulders, but she knew it was a clone because her voice sounded exactly like hers. You're willing to help me? Raichuru rested her metal hands on her clone's shoulders. Only as much as you're willing to help yourself, she said with a mysterious voice, like a sword sheathed in a hilt hidden from the eye. Raichuru shook her head, frustrated and confused. What do you mean? I've been trying to help myself, but you know where my baby girl is? Please help me. You mean our baby girl? From the next walls came a rattle and a shake. Raichuru could hear Yuki's voice above the wind, faintly crying like raindrops upon a tin roof of a shed. Sabah! She heard her cry. What is he doing to her? I have no time for this. You have to tell me where my daughter is so I can save Yuki and get Tenchikuzu back. Yuki! She cried. I'm coming for you. Be careful. Don't worry about her. She's knee-deep in it, the clone said lowly. The only way you can get your daughter back is if you learn to love.
Raichuru's eyes sparked. I know how to love! But you don't love everyone. The Claude put her hand on Raichuru's eyeless cheeks. You need to learn to love yourself. She closed her eyes and went in for a kiss. Their lips met like the whip on the ass of a submissive beast boy. I've never loved myself before. Not like this. Raichuru's ears began to twitch uncontrollably. Do I have to do this? We're going to love us hard. The clone took Raichuru by the neck and pushed her up against the cold steel wall. This will bring more love into your heart. She snaked her hand up Raichuru's belly into her chest to gently squeeze her bob. Raichuru accepted her own advances and hugged the clone. They rubbed noses and continued kissing, their hot, soggy breath blowing on their delicate skin. Raichuru put her hands on her clone's butt and rubbed it furiously. I never realized how nice my ass was. Raichuru laughed. See, you can love yourself. Now, find out what you love about your face. Raichuru kissed her clone all over the face and right on the tip of her nose. I love my nose and my lips. She kissed her sleeve again. She placed her hands neatly over her bumpy tits. I remind me of my mom. I miss her. She then ran the surface of her face over the surface of the belly and back up to her head. She suddenly felt her clone's twig-like fingers surrounding the outside of her cave like eels trying to get in. She did things to her, and it mildly hurt. Meow! Raichuru squeaked. That kinda hurt. It's called tough love. The clone deviously smiled. You haven't loved all of yourself yet, haven't I? Raichuru sighed. You need to love our ass. With a big grin bending over, she said, No! You have been in that test tube for a long time. Tenchikuzu only knows what's in there. Raichuru quivered like a marionette. Sure, that sounds good. But then her clone exploded. Her head flew off in a gruesome way and rolled over to the other side of the floor. Holy shit. Raichuru's heart rate went up. She walked over to the clone's head. The clone's lips parted to talk. Your little girl is right above us on the surface of the earth. Thank you for loving you. Her head broke down to a million little pieces and flew away. Raichuru took this opportunity to break down the walls to save Yuki. As she burst through the door, she screamed, Yuki, are you okay? As the wall crumbled, she could see Yuki on the other side. Sebastian was busy piling food after food into Yuki's mouth. She was covered in cake and frosting and pudding. Oh, Kami! Yuki wiped off her mouth. He wouldn't stop feeding me this shit, but I actually kind of like it. We need to find your daughter! Sebastian looked at Yuki longingly, shyly pulling at his gloves. Can I come too? Of course! She grabbed Sebastian and Raichuru's hand. We're going through the roof, Raichuru. Prepare to punch it into oblivion. They all rocketed off the ground and burst through a mile of cement and goiter. They all tumbled out onto the earth. Sebastian stood up and dusted himself off. I didn't like working for that fleek anyway. Well. How the fuck did you guys end up all the way out here? It was Sesshomaru the Vampire Lord, and he was at a table with a figure under a sheet on it. The sheet was blood-stained with sadness and death. I've had enough of you all, and my surgeon/butler betrayed me. He took out a scythe and spun it around. Let's part. He nimbly ran up to Raichuru. Yuki threw out her wing and uplifted Sesshomaru the Vampire Lord into the sky as he sailed through the air like a white butterfly, and as he came down he landed on Raichuru's shoulders, slashing her on the cheek with his scythe. She kicked up her leg and smacked him right on the node, breaking it and causing blood to squirt out. Ah! You bitch, I'll rip your ass out! Too bad you weren't with me earlier. She smiled and threw a punch at him. No, but Yor was there anyway. Sesshomaru slapped Raichuru right on the forehead. He went in for another slap, and she caught his ham! Party's over.
She coolly looked at him, with eyes like a silent river. She reached out and wrapped her fingers around Sesshomaru's cranium. She snapped his head to the right side, breaking his neck. She wiggled his head around a bit until the bones were disconnected, and then ripped his head off and threw it anyway. A volant waterfall of blood gushed from his neck hole. Quickly, Raichu rushed to the body on the table. She lifted up the sheets, and sure enough, Elaine was there. She looked pale and peaceful. No! Raichu snatched her up into her arms. Blood tears ran over her supple cheeks. She caressed the side of Elaine's face and gently rubbed it with her thumb. Yuki came out behind Raichu and held her shoulders. She's still alive, Raichan. Okay? Listen, let's take her home. Let's provide her a good home. Yuki wiped the tears from Raichu's face. You're rigged, Raichu said. I haven't been much of a mom since she was born. And to think, I nearly lost her. Hey guys, Mina-chan was waving her head at the foursome. I have a boat. We can all go back home. Let's go, Raichu said as she carried Elaine onto the boat. Yuki looked towards Sebastian and then quickly looked away. She spoke softly like a gentle whisper. You really want to come with us? Sebastian smiled and blushed. Of course I do, he said. I want to feed you more cake. Jeez, guys, I've been so tired lately. I'm surprised if I get this chapter done in a week or two. You guys have been great. I don't think Eve said that before. Thank you. Nyan. Chapter 29, a misty housewarming. Believe it or not, our heroes made it back to Raichu's house, even though she was still blind but had glass eyes. They all had the funnest boat ride on the trip over. It was the time of the day when the moon slipped onto the black sky, silky and black like a waterfall, full of white eyes. And the moon itself, what a white face. Raichu was still holding Elaine in her arms as they approached the door. Yuki delicately knocked on the door to grab the attention of the one living person in the house. Amiru stepped up to the door and peeped out of the eye-hole.
Aye, what are all of you doing in the night?
He said with a subtle steadiness. Yuki looked surprised and spoke in a baby soft voice. Well, who in the blaze are you? That's my housekeeper, Raichu smiled. Amiru, she said, open the door. I don't want any of you to see me. He'll unlock the door, but then I'm going to fuck away, Amiru said, as he put the key into the lock, unlocking it and then bolting into the kitchen like a rapid sparrow. Huh? Yuki scratched at the back of her neck. Your housekeeper sure is weird, Raichu. Oh no, Yuki, he's really nice. He makes the best spaghetti. Raichu smiled at Yuki with her fangs showing and her eyes closed. Makes good spaghetti, you say? Sebastian rubbed his chin in thought. They all opened the door and walked in. Raichu, Yuki said as she followed Raichu into the bedroom. Are you sure you'll be okay? Do you need me and Mina-chan to stay over? I'm the guardian of both you and Tenchikuzu anyway. It was a terrible idea. Raichu shook her head. No, you should take Mina-chan back home. I don't want to get her in trouble. It'll probably be safe here, but I can't be sure. Okay. Yuki hugged Raichu. Take care of my niece. And my sister. She smiled and lightly held Raichu's face. I will, Yuki-chan. Raichu waved everyone goodbye and they left. She continued into the bedroom holding Elaine. She laid her down on the bed and sat next to her, stroking her hair. After a while, Elaine's eyes twitched a little and then opened. Like a blood-red clam? A smile spread across her tiny pale face. Mama! Elaine squeaked. Yes, sweetie, I'm here. Raichu leaned over and kissed Elaine on the forehead. He's here, she spoke in a whisper. What? Raichu felt a chill down her spine and her furry ears perked up. Stay here. She calmly and made her way to the living room, feeling all the furniture and stuff. Raichu made it to the door at last. She leaned her ear against the door to see if she could hear anything. Nothing was moving. But that wasn't true. Little did she know that the eyes of a strange dark figure were secretly watching her through the peephole in the door. His bleat quiet. He made a creak. Raichu got angry. Dad! She spoke loudly with an ambience of force and strength. I know you're here. Go away. Mew! A delicate sound came from the other side of the door. Amiru came up from behind Raichu and gently pushed her to the side. I've got this, Miss Oni. He unlatched the door. I could have sworn I heard him. Raichu's words faded away like the clouds in the sky. Everyone barely left 15 minutes ago, ma'am. They would have seen him. Amiru let Mew in. Her crimson hair was wet, and so looked like blood dripping from the top of her head. Amiru put his arm around her. Come in, he said. I'm not sure how I got here, Mew said. I need help. Oh dear, I better make spaghetti. Amiru sat Raichu and Mew down and then scuttled to the kitchen. What's wrong, Mew? Raichu had a worried expression on her deformed face. I think I might be dying. Tears of sadness and worry dripped from her shiny eyes. Dying? Raichu shook her head. What could make you think that? Amiru came out with a big bowl of salad and cheese. Hey, you two, he said. Doesn't this look nummy? I'm here to help you, Raichu, because of your lack of arms. He started piling the salad into her mouth. Just wait for the garlic man. Mew shook her head. Thanks for the offer. I can't eat right now. Anyway, I've been in pain for the past couple of weeks now. I keep getting sick and throwing up everywhere. It's not getting any better. When did this happen exactly?
It started like during what would have been the wedding with your dad.
My daddy.
Raichu pondered in thought. It made sense to Raichu. Oh, you sound pregnant. Then Raichu thought about it some more. But that would mean... Mew looked intently at her. That would mean you're carrying my half-sister. Raichu barely made the words out of her mouth without tossing her salad all over poor Mew. Amiru dropped cheese. Chapter 30. Sunshine and Rain. The last night was very stimulating. From conversation about Raichu's sister clearing within Mew, it was not morning. Elaine came out of her room rubbing her eyes. What's up, Mama? She groggily spoke. Don't worry about it, baby, Raichu said as Elaine hopped up onto her lap. Breakfast was laid out. Give me fork, please. No, Elaine instructed to Amiru. He gave her the fork, and she shuffled a mouthful of salad into Raichu's mouth. Good, Mama? Yes, very good. Thank you, sweetie. Raichu and Elaine smiled. You're like a mommy, but don't be one, because it's very hard to be young and have babies. But every hardship is worth every moment with you, baby. Off on the other side of the table, Mew stared her Captain Crunch tragically. What will I do? Mew said. We'll help you raise your baby. I'll have a little sister, and Tenshikuzu will have an aunt. Yeah, you're right, Mew said. This could be good for everyone. Raichu had the tiniest bit of a smile on her face and turned her head towards Mew. I wish times were better. I'm sure my daddy will be back for Tenshikuzu. There is no normal family right now, but we will be one once all this is done. Mew left and Raichu nuzzled her hair against Elaine's ear and spoke very softly into it like a babbling brook. We're going to go shopping for Mew's new baby. It'll make her feel more at ease and ready for her new life. Elaine put her hands on her big full cheeks and squealed. Sounds fun, she said, and was immediately hushed by a smiling Raichu. Amiru wiped off Elaine and Raichu's dirty ass faces and spoke. Will you need assistance, ma'am? Thanks, Amy, but now there are times when Tenshikuzu or Yuki can't allow me to look through their eyes. Elaine will be up for it today. You need keep Mew-chan calm. Elaine and Raichu left, holding hands. Yawn! The mall was full and loud with the heat of a woman very fat and angry. You could smell the cinnamon rolls, and that's all Raichu knew was there, until Elaine let her look through her eyes. As the light came into her mind's eyes, she gently squeezed Elena's hand.
It had been the first she's seen since she was at the island with Yuki when Elaine was kidnapped. What do we get, Mama? Elaine walked her mom through the many shelves. Well, she will need baby clothes and a few how-to-baby books. And some baby chewable food. Bump! Elaine was so short, and without noticing, she ran right into someone. Hey, watch it! Came a very demanding and manly feminine voice from giant pudding lips. Do you just let your daughter lead you around like that? You know, I was standing here. Elaine looked up at the girl so Raichuru could see her. Oh, sorry, Raichuru sweated. I can't see too good and my daughter is helping me out. Raichuru furry cat ears flattered in embarrassment. The girl had on a purple and black bikini with black short pants and had pink eyes with pink hair that was light blue at the tips, almost like sharp cotton candy. Baby, we should go look in the clothes section. The girl thought about something hard and then stepped in front of Raichuru. Hey, she said, stepping in front of Elaine. You guys seem like you need help with that. I'm Shotara Akeniku. You can call me Short-san or Shasan if you're lazy. She shook hands with Raichuru. Oh, hi. Raichuru nervously shook her hand, which was painted with pale blue nail polish. I'm Raichuru, and this is my daughter, Elaine. No! Elaine squeaked. Shotara looked very unamused at the child and rolled her eyes to the other side of the store, but petted Elaine on the head and faked a, "What a cute little girl." As they were picking out clothes and other things, Shotara stayed behind them, not saying much, but texting a lot. Oh, she sighed. This is kind of boring. I think you're a bit late anyway. Your daughter isn't a baby. These things aren't for me. They're for a friend who will have a baby soon. Raichuru said as Elaine put a bib in the shopping basket. She's really scared and she needs some help preparing. It's gonna be my little sister. And my aunt, Elaine said excitedly, holding toilet paper. Shotara looked confused. Okay? She grinned about something and then bent down to talk to Elaine. Hey, you know what sounds like fun? Elaine's eyes bugged in mystery and wonder, like two red bubbles. What shot sound? If we got cinnamon rollies. She got Elaine very excited. Mama, can we get some? Please! She tugged at Raichuru's pink dress. Well, Raichuru was put on the spot. Shasan, we really need to finish shopping from you and then we can get cinnamon rolls. Shotara took Elaine by the hand and started walking them to the food court. Live a little bit, you guys, she said. This is gonna be tons more fun than shopping for baby stuff. They sat at a round table in the middle of the food court and stuffed gargantuous, fluffy cinnamon rolls into their mouths. Sweet cream cheese icing drooled from the corners of their lips, and Shotara and Elaine looked very happy. Now this is my kinda thing, Shotara said. Isn't it, Elaine? Raichuru stood up and grabbed Elaine's sticky, frosting hand. Shasan, it was fun having you tag along and all. Oh, yeah, I didn't bring any money. Shotara quickly threw her napkins down and backed away from the table. You're right, Raichuru, it was very fun. I'll see you guys around. She ran off texting. What the hell? Raichuru was angrier than the bull. What a load of crap. And that was weird. It'd like to smack her. Shot-san is Sugoi. Elaine beamed with a glowing look on her face. Raichuru sighed. Sweetie, I need to go to the bathroom. Could you take me there? Raichuru asked. They walked thorough the mall until they found the bathrooms. Okay, baby, just wait on the benches in the hall. I can feel my way around in the bathroom door. Elaine did what she was told and sat on the benches, which were in a different hallway next to the bathrooms. As Raichuru was washing her hands and feeling her way to the door, she could hear something very strange. Screech! Clunk! Raichuru leaned her ear against the door. The noise was stopped. Through Elaine's eyes, she could see a smiling figure walking towards her from the bathroom hallway. It was Shotara. She was all happy and saying something to Elaine, but Raichuru could not hear what. Shotara got on one knee and told Elaine, Hey! You want to go do something fun? She grabbed her hand. But Mama needs me to wait for her, Elaine pouted.
Don't worry, kid women take a long time in the bathroom, you know. You wouldn't understand. It's lady business.
Shardra pulled Elaine off the bench. Frantically, Raichu jerked the bathroom door handle, but the door wouldn't budge. She could see Shardra quickly lead Elaine away. Elaine! Raichu screamed. Don't do it, come back! Come back, don't trust her! She threw her body against the door over and over again. She kicked the door and felt around for something big, but nothing seemed hard enough to break the door. Help! Bloody tears of fear and pain dripped from her orange crush-colored glass eyes. It was like watching a horrible silent movie. She saw them looking at toys and having fudge fingers. Two figures walked up to them. One of them was Mew. Oh, thank Cammy, Raichu cried. I can't believe it. Another figure stood with Mew. It was Raichu!